Baylor Bears are the 23rd ranked team in America. Traditionally for Baylor, it begins with the defense, and this year is no different. Santana Dotson leads a front four that relinquishes yards reluctantly. And on offense, last week, fullback Robert Strait and flanker Lee Miles tore through UTEP. Their opponent today, national champion Colorado, and the Buffs boast an equally stingy defense. In their opener against high-powered Wyoming, they sacked the quarterback 9 times. Colorado quarterback Darian Hagan is fully healed from his New Year's Day knee injury. Number 3 is not only dangerous as a quarterback this year, but as a punt returner. 13th ranked Colorado, 23rd ranked Baylor. Next. NCAA football on Special Order Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Live from Boulder, Colorado, in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it's the 23rd ranked Baylor Bears visiting national champion and 12th ranked Colorado. And welcome to Folsom Field, where a sellout crowd is expected. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. This should be a terrific matchup, a defensive struggle. The last 3 years running, Baylor has led the Southwest Conference in defense, and of course, Colorado has been pretty good on defense the last few years themselves. In fact, Bill McCartney said earlier he feels this might be his best defense ever. Let me bring in my partner, the former Houston Oilers coach, Ed Biles. And I know you like defensive football. You got to like this one.
Well, you always like defensive football when you've been an old defensive coordinator, but this one features a couple outstanding defensive line. This is a game where the old people have said, hey, let's see one in the trenches. That's what it's going to be. It won't be down and dirty because this is turf here, but it's going to be one of those games where whoever controls that line of scrimmage with the running game will be able to set up the play-action passes. That will determine the outcome.
We have an oddity of sorts. We have 3 of the 12 finalists for the Lombardi Trophy in this football game. That rarely happens.
Rarely happens, and you're talking about Santana Dotson, who's from Baylor, can play either end or defensive tackle, 3-year letterman out of Yates High School. Just great quickness, great strength, great size. Really unusual to have that. On the other side of the ball, you go to Colorado. They've got a defensive nose guard, one of the toughest positions to play. Steed, excellent, uses his hands. He'll move up and down the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to do an outstanding job. The center, Barron, will have an outstanding job. They're going to have to do a good job today to do outstanding work. The center for Colorado, Jay Leuenberg, what a tremendous center. Big, strong, quick, outstanding pro prospect. He started 26 straight ball games. So in there, keep your eyes in. You're going to see some tremendous football played.
You know, Ed, as good as Santana Dotson is, he doesn't steal all the headlines in Waco, because people who follow Baylor football realize that the fella at one defensive end by the name of Robin Jones might be even better than Dotson all around.
Interesting enough that you said that, because I talked to one pro scout here this week. That's exactly what he told me. He said, you know, everybody's talking about Dotson. He is a great football player, but Robin Jones just might be a solid football player versus a run and versus the pass, so keep an eye on him also today.
2 Texans led the Colorado defense the last couple of years. They're bookend outside linebackers, Alfred Williams and Kenavis McGee. They were first and second round picks, respectively, in the National Football League draft last spring. They have 2 more players at outside backer McCartney loves. Ronnie Wolfert, a converted quarterback, and also Chad Brown, who started inside last year.
Chad Brown started inside and moved him out last week's ball game. He had 10 tackles. He's a 2-year letterman. It's going to be interesting to see how they defense this veer, especially the option when Joe runs it.
Now, there is going to be some offense in this football game. Stick with us. When we come back, we'll talk about the 2 quarterbacks right after this. Welcome back to Folsom Field in Boulder. Drew Goodman along with Ed Biles, where we're getting set for Colorado hosting Baylor. Now, we talked a lot about defense in the first segment. There are offensive players, extraordinary offensive players, in fact, in this ball game. The 2 protagonists, the 2 quarterbacks. For Colorado, Darian Hagan, and for Baylor, J.J. Joe, and they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. They're really not what you call the drop-back passing type quarterbacks, the pro type. Both of them are great option quarterbacks. Option passing, option running. I think the one thing, neither one have the big size, so the ability of the defense to put their hands up. Both teams, I think, will try to keep them in the pocket, but if they get outside, both of them are dangerous. Hagan, extremely dangerous over the curl pattern or the hook pattern to Sean Brown.
Now, you're talking a lot about passing, and people who follow Baylor and Colorado last few years say, hold on a second, these are teams that just run the ball, but today you really believe they have to have some success throwing it, don't they?
Well, I think with both great defensive lines, it may come down to some play-action type pass or a scramble where one of the quarterback gets open and makes a big play. It's going to be hard to go first down. I think somewhere along the line, they've got to have an 18 or 20 or 25-yard passing play.
Now, Colorado is still searching for a tailback replacement to Eric Bieniemy. He is now with the San Diego Chargers. Last week, they played 3 guys back there, Ken Call, Chucky Snowden, and Matt Bell. They got to find a good one, don't they?
Well, I think they'll continue to play him, especially early season where the conditioning factor, the air up here has a little bit of factor, but I think you're going to continue to see all 3 of them until one steps forward and takes a position.
You will basically see one fullback for Baylor. His name, Robert Strait, and he was something else last week against UTEP.
Well, he's been something else his whole career. In high school, like over 8,000 yards, 52 touchdowns one year. He's big, he's strong. They will not be able to arm tackle him. They're going to have to wrap him up pretty good, or he's going to pick up extra yardage.
This figures to be a great one. 2 of the finest teams in the nation. The Baylor Bears, 23rd in the country, visiting national champion Colorado. We'll have it for you right after this. Goes back to 1959. Baylor won that football game. They also won the last meeting, but it is tied at 3 games all. It's very interesting. Ed Biles, Grant Teff, and Bill McCartney, very, very close friends.
Well, both high-class gentlemen, both run good programs, both believe good Christians and believe in God and teach that to their players. I think they both had tremendous amount of respect. The respect goes to the fact that Coach McCartney has a son who's going to school at Baylor.
Freshman journalism major, Mark.
I think that shows the respect that they have. But you're talking about 2 class coaches. Both of them been at these schools for a great amount of time. Of course, there's the weather condition. Temperature 80, humidity 22%, winds out of the west 9 miles an hour, sky sunny. You couldn't want a better day than this, Drew, for college football.
No, you couldn't. As a matter of fact, the other day when we were talking to Grant Teff, he said, we're looking forward to heading to Boulder. No oxygen and cool weather. They have to practice a little later in the afternoon down in Waco because it is so warm.
Well, I drove over from Denver, stayed there last night, drove over this morning. What a beautiful drive. That about 30-mile drive from Denver to here. You're in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, and it's just gorgeous.
Colorado won the toss. They deferred to the second half. Baylor will receive the football. Mitch Berger will kick it off. He's from Canada originally. He's the starting punter. Lee Miles and Reggie Miller back deep. Miles on the left and Miller on the right. #12th ranked Colorado, 23rd ranked Baylor. Here we go. And the wind got a hold of that one. This is a very short kick. It hits at the 20 and stopped at the 19-yard line. Reggie Miller, he'll only get 2 yards. He had to field that on the first hop down. Defensively, Dion Figures, the outstanding cornerback for the Buffaloes. The quarterback is J.J. Joe. There's Bill McCartney on the left and his good friend and counterpart, Grant Teff. J.J. Joe, middle of the huddle, 3'9" student. Robert Strait, the fullback, how about 8,000 plus yards rushing in high school. He was something else. They give to the tailback. Mims has a little bit of an opening. He'll get it out to about the 25-yard line. Greg Beekert, 19 defensively there for the Buffs, and there's Robert Strait. Mims is very good. He had a good week last week, and Baylor scored 4 touchdowns from beyond 25 yards last week. Up front, Turnpaw is an All-American candidate. He's 6'3", 295. He anchors the line. Barron is very good. Monty Jones is also a preseason All-American. Interesting formation. We see the tight end in the backfield here for Baylor. Now he exits, and here's the option. They go to Mims, and he is buckled under about 2 or 3 yards shy of the first down. Richard Fisher, 88, was there defensively. 3-4 for Colorado. You look at their linebackers. Chad Brown had 2.5 sacks last week. A year ago, he started inside. Beekert will call his name quite a bit today as well. Reggie Miller checks in to the offense. Lee Miles checks out. 3rd down and 3 yards to go. They need to get it across the 30-yard line. Baylor opening possession of the football game. And movement 76. Craig Bellamy heard a different snap count, I guess.
Well, they're using a different formation. This is the first time that Baylor has used this formation where they put that tight end, the stacked eye, if you want to call it that, where the tight end will be used as motion. They're going to try to use him as a lead blocker. They got Pierce and McKenzie, who are both 230-pounders. They'll use them as lead blockers. They'll also use them on the option outside to try to get outside and get an extra helper on the block on the strong safety or on the linebacker, depending on the adjustment that Colorado does. Now, the one thing they're going to have to be careful if they have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. Actually, Coach McCartney said, hey, they only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage the last play.
Alonzo Pierce is lined up in the backfield. Now he goes in motion. 3rd down and 8 yards to go. Joe, time, throws complete. Lee Miles at the 42-yard line. The diminutive one, the senior from Texas. 5'6" and about 150 pounds, soaking wet.
Well, just great execution. They used motion, simple zone pattern. You can see Pierce breaking to the outside. Miles breaks it to the inside, looks for the opening in the curl, goes forward, picks up a big 1st down. That's what we talked about the passing game early. We're going to have it to sustain drives.
Well, Joe delivered the football there. He's a sophomore from Arlington, Texas, 3'9" in finance in the classroom. They give to the tailback, and Mims will have a couple. David scoots it across before Greg Beekert got a piece of him. The junior from Longmont, Colorado, he goes 6'3" and 220.
Trying to run a little isolate type play in there with the lead. The tight end being as a lead blocker along with using Robert Strait. Now you talk about a 230-pounder and another 230-pounder that'll be leading those plays in there in different directions. A little different look that Colorado maybe hasn't quite practiced against this week.
Well, one thing is for certain. Robert Strait's no longer 230 pounds, Coach. He's about 245, 250. Number 20 in the backfield. And they give to Strait. No, they option the football. Joe keeps it. He's still going across the 40-yard line into Colorado territory at the 36. J.J. Joe. Last year he came off the bench as a redshirt freshman, and he helped knock off Texas Tech.
Right now, Drew, Colorado a little bit off balance with that motion of that tight end coming after. That was just a simple veer option play where Joe kept it, went on down the sideline. You can see the tight end leading the play. Just a little bit, slight bit of confusion. Just a great movement by Joe up to the inside. Triple J picks up another big 1st down.
Triple J really fooled Chad Brown there. 1st and 10 for the Bears. They're moving it against Colorado.
2 tight ends now.
They give to Strait, and Robert moves the pile ahead for a couple. Chad Brown in there defensively.
That time they went, Drew, they put 2 tight ends in the ball game. Looks like we're going to try to mix up their formations. They had both Pierce and McKenzie with a double tight end alignment.
It'll set up a 2nd down and 7 to go. Colorado has won 11 straight. That is the longest winning streak in Division 1A football. And they have won 15 straight here in Boulder. They haven't lost here in over 2 years. In fact, they've never lost on this new carpet. Joe lobs it, and it is picked off. Greg Thomas on the overthrow picks off J.J. Joe, and Joe had a man open. His tight end releasing.
It really was. That was just a quick fake to the play to the inside. He wanted just a loud pass, but he overthrew. He threw the ball off his back foot, and the ball sailed a little bit. Watch him throw the ball off the back foot here and watch it sail. There he is, up in the air. It sails over the head of the receiver, and Thomas inherits the interception, but they all count. Thomas, 6'2", 220-pound senior, captain of the defensive team for Colorado. Big play defensively for Colorado. He was open.
And you mentioned awards as Thomas picks it off the carpet. He is one of the semifinalists for the Jim Thorpe Award given to the outstanding defensive back in the country each year.
There he is. He really is. He's an excellent player.
There is Darian Hagan. Hagan, an All-American Heisman candidate last week, 269 all-purpose yards. And Hagan wants to throw the football on 1st down, and he wants a bunch, and he's going to underthrow considerably. I believe that was Rico Smith downfield.
Well, so much for all that running game we talked about. We said they're all going to come in there and be all running inside.
And the backs and receivers, Sean Brown, the tight end, has great hands. Les Steckel, an old friend of yours, a former Viking coach, just raved about his hands. And the offensive line, Jay Lewinberg, one of the Lombardi candidates and Outland Trophy candidates. He has to have a good game because it's a young offensive line. They go to the fullback on the quick hitter, and James Hill will have about 5 yards before he's bottled up by Robin Jones, the 6'3", 266-pound senior from Hillcrest High in Dallas. There's that front four. It's a 4-3. Santana Dotson gets a lot of publicity, but folks, Marcus Lowe and Robin Jones are in that same league. Teddy Patton's pretty good at right end as well. The linebackers for Baylor, Curtis Hafford has started at all three positions over his career, and he'll make a lot of tackles today. McFarland is the only guy back there who started a year ago. Well, was it offside or was it motion against Colorado on third down and what they're calling 6?
Well, as usual, both teams point to the other team, so let's let the officials sort it out.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Hafford starting in the middle there. Lee Bruder has a pulled hamstring. Bruder is usually the starter in there.
And it'll go against Baylor. They'll walk off 5, and I think Marcus Lowe, bottom of your screen, might have jumped. Yeah, Marcus trying to anticipate the snap count.
Yeah, I think he saw just a little bit of movement in there by Joe that the officials didn't detect, but the quarterback kind of lowered his fanny a little bit in there, which drew him offside. He was right down in that position where we could probably see that.
So it's third down and a long one to go. Colorado has to get it across the 34-yard line. First time they've touched the football today. Kent Call is the tailback, and Hagan wants to run option. He's in a world of trouble. He'll lose 3 yards. Robin Jones there defensively. He beat the block and gets Hagan in the backfield.
Well, just a great play by Robin Jones. He had the power formation in there. See the option coming up. But look at Jones split the blocks and work upfield. He worked his way through 2 blockers, works upfield, and made the tackle. You can't play it any better than that.
There's Berger. They think he'll be another good one in the long line of outstanding punters here in Colorado. Barry Helton, Keith English, Tom Ruin. This is a great punt. Lee Miles calls for a fair catch and makes one nicely at the 25-yard line. Baylor will start there with their second possession. We're scoreless in the first half. 9:33 to go, first quarter. Baylor visiting Colorado.
But just against it unless we loosen it up a little bit. I think that's a surprise.
Well, we had talked about it off the top as far as loosening up and throwing the ball well, and Bill McCartney told us yesterday, and Grant Taff alluded to it this morning, that whichever team throws the ball better today will probably end up winning the football game, barring unforeseen turnovers.
Interesting to see what kind of adjustment Colorado makes to that tight end in the backfield.
So far, Baylor has 32 yards and Colorado 4 yards in total offense. They go outside to Mims. He's quick, and he'll get 4 before he bounces out of bounds, and then a late flag, either in the area of clipping or perhaps a late hit going out of bounds. Chad Brown ran Mims out there.
I think he called that on the. I think he called this on the wide receiver out there. Holden, I thought the wide receiver looked like he had a pretty good block. Of course, it was over in the vicinity of the Colorado bench. I'm sure the Colorado players were yelling, Holden, Holden. Well, watch the block up the top there by number 83. That's a pretty good block. Wow.
Well, they're going to watch.
You can't block him much better than that. The official was much farther downfield. I think he possibly just saw the tail end of that. Split crew of officials in this ball game today.
Yeah, John Laurie from the Big 8 is our referee. It is a split crew. Our umpire is John Gaston. He's from the Southwest Conference. Head linesman's Don Capral. He's from Southwest Conference. The line judge is Darrell Lewis from the Big 8. Field judge is Garland Old from the Big 8. Side judge Bill Brown from the Southwest Conference. And the back judge is Willie Weisbrook. He is from the Big 8. So it's first down and a bunch. And this will lose a few. Greg Beekert in the backfield. And also 39, Jeff Brunner in there.
Well, Beekert did a good job of reading this. Watch Joe as he comes out of there. He turns his back to the defense. Right away, that tells any linebacker it's not going to be a pass. If he's going back to pass the ball, he is going to look downfield. This time, J.J. Joe turned his back. A good linebacker says, hey, that's going to be a running play.
Let me correct something. It wasn't Jeff Brunner. It was Joel Steed, the man we talked about off the top, one of those Lombardi finalists at the nose tackle. Joe, with time, to the outside, right through the wickets of Lee Miles, and he might have heard footsteps there, Coach.
Well, I think he may have heard footsteps, but the ball was thrown again a little high, and really that type of passes are not Joe's, really what he likes to do. He'd rather throw the ball down in the curl area and downfield. When he has to throw to the sideline, because of his size, he has just a little bit of trouble. And you're playing on a turf now that has a good crown on it. He's throwing kind of downhill. The ball has a tendency to sail. You almost have to throw the ball down. When you're in the middle of that field, the crown will lead off the sideline and let the water drain off of it.
I know what you're talking about. I almost fell off balance this morning running downhill. 3rd and 19 for Baylor. They're at the 16-yard line. They have to get it across the 35. Joe, all kinds of time, and now it's whistle dead. Flags fly everywhere.
Well, Baylor had a lot of poise this first series, but the second series, they got a holding penalty and now a delay of game. So they started out with lots of poise, and now they're struggling.
Well, last week for Grant Taft, his first opening day win since 1988 when they knocked off Nevada, Las Vegas. Last week they beat UTEP at home in Waco 27-7. Versus the Big 8, Baylor is 18 and 19, but in the last 5 years they've won 4 of 7. Grant Taft in his 20th year. Only one coach has been at an institution in Division 1A longer than Taft as the head man. I know you know that man, Joe Paterno. They elect to run the football on 3rd and half an acre, and Mims will just get a few. Leonard Renfro and Greg Beekert there defensively, and Baylor will have to punt the football back to Colorado. So they really shot themselves in the foot on that series.
They really did. I thought they got a very tough call on that first down play over there. If you get a block and you get in front of a guy and you continue working with him, all of a sudden he turns his back around on you. Good punter.
Ken Brentham and the quarterback, Darian Hagan, back deep to punt. Would you have ever done this?
Well, I think what Bill is doing, he's giving his kid an opportunity to do something he can do. He's an option player. He runs the ball all the time. Why not?
And it's a good-looking punt from Brentham. Hagan backs up to his own 43. He was exciting last week. He's got an opening. Darian Hagan trips at the 30-yard line, or perhaps he might have gone the distance. And again, we find out the answer to the question, why is Hagan back there? He's tremendous.
Well, he's great. And, you know, anybody who criticized that type of move, just think about it. This kid is an option quarterback. What's the difference whether he runs the ball 4 or 5 more times a game?
No score with 7:54 left, first quarter. Patellar tendon tear that he suffered in the Orange Bowl in the second quarter against Notre Dame. He's fine. He's absolutely fine. Look at this return.
Well, he splits it. He gets right up to the middle, almost makes a middle return out of it. And one of the Baylor coverage men just got his hand on him. I don't think he was really tackled to that. He's unhappy with himself because he knew if he'd got his feet back up underneath him, he may have gone the distance. But that was a question where Baylor probably spent all week saying, okay, now we got to fan out. We got to get down. We got to cover the entire field. And they got so much to the outside that he just broke it right up the middle on him.
Grant Taft said 2 things about Darian Hagan returning punts. He said, absolutely, I concur with my friend Bill McCartney. If you have a guy like that, you got to play him. I mean, if you got a gun, you got to shoot it. That sort of analogy. And the other thing he said, Darian Hagan, you have to catch him before you can hit him. And in the same breath, he said, if Hagan returns 6 for touchdowns against us, it won't be because we didn't work hard on it all week in practice. They were putting extra time in terms of punt coverage this week.
That again shows you what the presence of a player like that back there does. It takes time from something else you might do in practice that you have to emphasize more and more what he can do and how he can beat you.
So Colorado with outstanding field position, the plus 29-yard line. They come out with that full house backfield. James Hill's the fullback, and he gets the call. And Hill will be stood up by Santana Dotson and also Teddy Patton on the right side of the defensive line for the Bears. Hill goes 6 foot and 210. He used to be a tailback.
You take a look at here, just a straight ahead player. They're trying to favor the veer right off. They want to veer off the double team block. Now they're going to block down, try to take it to the outside there, but against this defensive line, I think you may try to see him run a couple little misdirection plays here somewhere along the line to slow him down.
Colorado has a young offensive line, 66 at left guard, a true freshman. James Hill dives over number 73, Roger Ivy, the right guard, and he'll get a couple. Dotson again there defensively, and it'll set up a 3rd down and about 5 yards to go for Colorado.
I think Colorado tried to use what they call a fold block in that time, where the guard may have blocked to the outside and the tackle stepped around behind him, but in stepping around behind him, the Baylor defensive line got good penetration and did a good job of stuffing the play.
Rico Smith heads out to the top of your screen, and Mark Henry a wide out to the near side. Colorado leaves Kent Call alone in the backfield. 3rd down and 5. They need the 19-yard line. And now Hagan will check off. And now we'll get a flag, and the 25-second clock has expired. So instead of 3rd down and 5, Colorado needs to pick up 10 here.
Well, what Baylor did then, they broke up, saw a broken formation, one remaining back. Keith Caldwell, the safety, came up and almost looked like it was going to be a safety blitz from the outside. And Shea Maston had moved to the outside. And I think that Aaron Hagan probably realized this play isn't going to work, whatever they had called, and they were forced to take a delay of the game and take this penalty. They didn't want to waste a play.
Not down here, you don't. You don't want to make a mistake in plus territory. Might be one of the rare opportunities today with these two defenses. Hagan has the corner. Now he releases it. Henry, complete, they say, at the 16-yard line. Keep in mind, in college football, you only have to get one inbound.
Well, the fundamental mistake made there, watch him get to the outside. Watch Baylor lose containment. Right now, there's the block on 82, Robin Jones, and he breaks containment. Now they're in trouble. Now there's room for him to throw. And what a great, well, I'll tell you what, this is going to be close on this call. Instant replay would look this in the Pro League. There's the pass. Very close where his feet came. One of his foot came down in bounds.
Mark Henry, senior from Fleming, Colorado, a former walk-on, made the play. Hill keeps his balance to the 10-yard line, knocking officials over as he goes. The umpire took a tumble there, and pretty good gain for Colorado on 1st down. Shea Maston made the tackle.
John Gaston, official from Little Rock, Arkansas, get knocked down on this play. A good job by Hill of spinning and moving it back to the inside, just broke the tackle. And that's how you're probably going to make yardage today, on broken tackles. I don't think you're going to see many plays inside that make big yardage without broken tackles.
You know, it's interesting. We talked about
this is a timeout for the official. I think he got hurt a little bit in the back. I think they want to give him a chance to kind of, he's feeling his back out there and give him a chance to get his breath.
Hey, why not? They really take care of the officials. He's allowed to get his wheels under him. We were talking about the tailbacks for Colorado, and Eric Bieniemy, now a San Diego Charger. They haven't given the football yet to a tailback today. For over 1,000 yards a couple of seasons back. 2nd down and 4 yards to go for Colorado at the Baylor 10. They give to the fullback Hill, and he drives ahead to the 6-yard line. Curtis Hafford met him, and then he got driven back, and you have to do a lot of work. You have to have pretty good forward motion to drive Hafford back. He's 235.
Yeah. Take a look at the offensive line. Watch Lewinberg in here. Watch Lewinberg. Watch the center. Look at that block. Comes off of one, gets into the other. Clint Moore and Craig Anderson did an outstanding job also driving Santana Dotson and Patton back off the line of scrimmage. Colorado controlled the line of scrimmage on that play, and this is going to be probably a 1st down.
Yeah, they say quite a bit in rodeo country, don't let your sons grow up to be cowboys, right? Something along those lines.
Right.
Why would you let your son grow up to be a nose tackle or a center?
Well, if you're big and strong and sometimes slow when you start out, that's the position they put you in. And sometimes those big, strong, slow ones, that's the greatest position to play in professional football. Their career lasts longer than anybody.
They hit you from all different angles. No nose tackles for me.
This kid is incredible, this Lewinberg. You know, you talk about a kid who's a diabetic, he takes 2 insulin shots every day.
And he does a lot of speaking along those lines with young students. It's 1st and goal at the 6. They give to Hill, and Hill will bounce to about the 4-yard line, and then a host of Baylor Bears ate him up there, led by Hafford, the 235-pound senior from Jasper, Texas.
They've run Hill inside now about three times in a row. Baylor's defense getting a little anxious coming down inside. Watch very shortly for Hagan to bring that ball out and come with an option to the outside.
2nd and goal, ball at the 4-yard line. And Jay Lewinberg left early, ball comes loose. Baylor has the football. And yes, it counts. Baylor football at the 4. Curtis Hafford recovered.
And that'll count because the center was the one who left the ball, and apparently he thought it was going to be on the first count. There's going to be a little discussion with officials, but this should count because it was a center who moved and went downfield. Apparently it was play was maybe going to be on the first count, and probably one of the Baylor linebackers was calling a defensive adjustment that was close to Colorado's starting count, and he left and moved.
So Baylor turns away Colorado. We thought turnovers might make be a big point in this football game. They usually are, and that was a huge turnover. Colorado looking at second and goal at the 4, and it was really strange. Jay Lewinberg scored a touchdown. The only problem is he was the only guy who left.
And he didn't have the football. You got to have the pigskin with you when you cross that goal line.
That's the first thing they told me when I got this job. 4:33 left first quarter. Drew Goodman along with Ed Biles. Baylor with it, 1st and 10 from their own 2. Brunner in the football game for Steed at a nose tackle, and Straight will lunge straight ahead. Greg Beaker tries to steal the football, but the officials will have none of that. Pickup of 2. Brunner there defensively along with Beaker. That's what Robert Straight did last week, his first 100-yard rushing game. You want to hear gaudy stats? In high school, he rushed for 8,404 yards and 127 touchdowns. That's a pretty good 10-year period for a high school football team. He did that 3 years. 2nd down and 8. Baylor toss sweep to Mims, and he'll get the 5-yard line, and that's it. Beaker and 99 Leonard Renfro, the sophomore from St. Mary's High in Detroit, had that one figured out.
That's one of the great things about Texas high school football, Drew. And one of the interesting things about Baylor's football team, here's a replay of that trying to run a toss sweep to the outside. Nothing there. Baylor reacted very well to it and made the play. Texas high school football, this football team is only 2 players from out of state on the team. Their entire roster is Texas people. One from Florida, and his parents are originally from Houston, Texas.
And one from Louisiana. Everybody else on the traveling squad, a native of the Lone Star State. 3rd down and 7. Joe, he has it complete to the 15-yard line. Good reception by Reggie Miller. Greg Thomas was there, the free safety, but that was rifled in there with authority.
Well, that was the same pass that they completed early in the ball game, where the wide receiver went to the outside receiver came down and curled to the inside. Easy pattern for him to throw, puts it down there, enough for the 1st down. Here he comes down. Now watch him turn and work to the inside. Looks for the opening in the zone. You can see the man working to the outside, completed for the 1st down.
And if nothing else, if this drive doesn't go anywhere, at least it gives Baylor room to pump the football to Colorado instead of being in the back of their end zone. Mims will tumble over the top, and again, 19, Greg Beaker figures in defensively for the Buffaloes.
So the other thing that also does, allows that defense a chance to get a rest. If either one of these teams' defense has to spend a lot of time on the field this afternoon, as you get into the fourth quarter, could be a factor in the ball game.
2:25, 2:24, clock moving, 1st quarter, no score. Baylor and Colorado from Folsom Field on a beautiful, splendorous day in Colorado. There's a little draw. Mims makes a couple of people miss and gets it out to the 20-yard line. Joel Steed made the tackle, and again, Beaker trying to come away with the football and get that turnover back.
The 2nd player going there. Now you can see over here right now.
Mike Barry, offensive line coach for Colorado.
That's exactly right. He's telling them what adjustments they're making. You see the 4-man line. You got a draw in there. We see where the 2 tackles are lined up slightly on the outside shoulders. He's telling them what blocking adjustments they want to make next time they're on the offensive side of the ball.
3rd down. Baylor needs the 25. Here's the delay to Mims. He has an opening. He'll get across the 25. Mims to the 30. And he walks out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Joe checked off, and he checked into the right play. He ran away from the strong side of the formation.
Well, they were lucky that Colorado didn't get a penalty call over there. It was accidental, and Mims probably got hurt on this play over by the bench, and he was way out of bounds over there.
One of the dangerous things about here at Folsom Field, as they work on Mims, is the sideline, the cement walls. This is an old stadium, very, very close to the sideline.
Well, Mims had a sprained ankle going in, but as he got out of bounds, about 3 yards out of bounds, he tried to stop. The Colorado player that was chasing him was unable to stop and hit him in the back. And I'm sure it was unintentional. I'm just amazed that they didn't get a penalty flag thrown on that play.
Mims now 10 carries for 32 yards, and that was the 4th first down of the ball game for Baylor, and he seems to be okay. He did come in, as you mentioned, Ed, with a slightly sprained ankle.
It was his left ankle, and looks like he may have re-sprained it. His backup is a sophomore, Craig Stevens from Dobie High School out of Houston. Good football player, just hasn't.
We'll see if we can see what happens.
Watch him as he gets out of bounds here now. Now he's going to step out of bounds. See the play. He thinks the play's over. Now look at the Colorado defensive player roll into him out of bounds there, way over by the sideline. See, Mims stopped. He thought the play was over. Colorado player didn't do it intentionally. He was falling and rolled right up the back of his legs.
Baylor 1st and 10 from their own 36. Joe with the football under pressure. He avoids the rush and now will throw the ball, and it's complete at the 41-yard line. Good grab by Lee Miles. Ronnie Woolfolk was the linebacker who applied pressure. Joe avoided him, and we also have a penalty flag down in the secondary.
I think we're going to find that Baylor probably had some offensive linemen downfield on this play.
And that's exactly what we'll have. That's very difficult for a lineman to stay disciplined. His quarterback rolls out of the pocket, Ed, and then all of a sudden it looks for all the world like he's going to run.
Especially when you have a quarterback like Hagan and Triple Joe, Jay, who are people that do that all the time. You anticipate them taking off and running the ball. I'm sure the lineman said, hey, nobody was open. He's probably going to take off and run. And it's just a very difficult play. It's hard to blame a lineman for that type of play.
Joe, a sophomore, 3.9 in the classroom as a finance major. Better graduation rates nationwide. 1st down and 15. Baylor gives it to Straight. Straight will tumble forward for about 3. Leonard Renfro and also Richard Fisher, an inside linebacker. Fisher's from Sugar Land, Texas, where he was a high school All-American, number 88, and Straight gets about 2.
Oh, he had a fine high school coach out there, went to Clements High School. There it is, there's the inside play. You can see Renfro coming down hard on the stunt to the inside. It'll be very difficult for Baylor to run inside until they get that option working a little bit to the outside.
Grant Taft, 20 years in Waco, Texas. He has had opportunities to go elsewhere. We'll talk to him at halftime today. Joe, play action. He wants to run this one. Woolfolk moves it to the outside. What a play defensively by 47, Chris Hudson. He anticipated and somehow got up in the air and batted it away. Lee Miles was open.
Well, that's freshman redshirt. In fact, he's out of Houston, Texas with the Worthing High School. Remember him from playing high school football. Boy, comes right up, playing that zone coverage, gets underneath it, made an outstanding play, tremendous play, because Mims was open on the sideline. Jones a little bit late delivering the ball. So receiver open coming across the middle, just a little bit late delivering the football. He allowed Hudson plenty of time to recover.
There is Hudson from the Houston area, 5'11" and 190. He had 18 interceptions in high school. 3rd down and 12. J.J. Joe straight back. Here comes a blitz. And they tried to set up a screen, I think, to Robert Straight. But Hudson, the man we just mentioned, really messed that up along with Eric Hamilton.
They had those 6 defensive backs, and they took Hudson and rushed him. They're trying to get Straight out of the backfield on a little bit of a delay pattern. Didn't work. They'll be forced to punt the ball with 28 seconds to go here in the first quarter. There it is. You can see him go back. Right now, Straight is blocking. Now he tries to get off his block. You can see where Joe got hit there by Hudson at the end of the play. Straight was open, but he didn't have a chance to get the ball to him.
Ken Brentham in the ball game. He's from Belton, Texas. Last year he averaged 37 yards a punt. Last week, 43, much better. This one, a line drive returnable. Here's Hagan. They have to do a better job covering him, and they do. He's knocked down at the 30-yard line. Number 43, Sean Craven's there defensively. Well, Special Order Sports presents live college football this season. Call your cable systems in Texas. Colorado 1st and 10, and Santana Dotson moved, but was he drawn off?
Well, the referee blew the whistle dead, so the play isn't going to count. So evidently, one or the other moved. Let the officials sort it out.
It'll be offside against Baylor, so it'll set up a 1st down and 5 yards to go. 18 seconds left in the first quarter, and Coach Biles, we figured it would be a defensive struggle, and it really has. The best scoring opportunity for Baylor J.J. Joe was a little long on a dump pass over the middle of the tight end. Greg Thomas picked it off. That's one turnover. And then Colorado on 1st and goal turns it right back over at the 2-yard line.
2 turnovers in the first quarter of the ball game, one by each team. Stop scoring drives by both teams. I got a little bit surprised that we haven't seen some more of the outside option play. Both teams extremely strong inside. I really kind of anticipate Hagan. He had a little success running Hill inside. I really anticipate him running an option to the outside here pretty soon.
One of the interesting things that Grant Taft told us this week is that a year ago when they played Nebraska, and it was really a 7-0 game until about a minute left, and Nebraska scored again to make it 13-0. Pick up on that point in a moment. This is Brown, the tight end over the middle, and he hustles to the 48-yard line. First down, Colorado. Brian Hand, the linebacker, had to drag him down. Good throw and good catch. And Sean Brown had 4 last week. He's a senior from Granada Hills, California.
And even though Hagan doesn't have the height, he seems to do well with that pattern where he hits the tight end in the middle area. He had great success with that, as you said last week, with 4 completions. Here he had another completion today.
Here comes the option, and here's Call, his first carry, and Call across the 45 to the 42-yard line of Baylor. Curtis Hafford brought him down, and Call was looking to get loose. He is a redshirt freshman from Fort Morgan, a terrific student and an outstanding high school football player. He was all-state in Colorado and nationally.
There you can see the replay, and of course you can see that how far they had to go to. Hafford had to come all the way from the inside middle linebacker to get way to the outside to make the tackle. Containment player lost the containment, and that's what opens up the option.
And that'll end the first quarter. We are scoreless from Boulder. And as we figured, no score, but Colorado's moving it right now. They have a 2nd and 1 at the Baylor 43. Along with Ed Biles, I'm Drew Goodman. Hagan wants to throw the football. He goes to the outside, and this will pick up 4 or 5. Charles Johnson, not the Charles Johnson that led them to the victory over Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl last year. He is getting ready to attend law school. He had 1 year of eligibility left. This is another Charles Johnson. He's a wide receiver out of San Bernardino, California.
Well, what a great job by Craig Anderson, the left tackle, 6'4", 280-pound sophomore. He went right straight down that line of scrimmage and got out there and led that play, and actually made that play the possible to get the yardage that they got out of it.
Yeah, that's one I figured they were looking for more. Here's Hagan, cuts it up the middle. Darian Hagan tripped up at the 26-yard line. Hagan nailed by Frankie Smith as he was looking to head the distance.
And an injured Baylor player down on the field. See him working to the outside. As I said, I thought pretty soon you're going to see him run that option. You see Hagan running the ball down through there, and again, 1 tackle puts him down.
It's Marcus Lowe. They could ill afford to lose the senior from Northbrook High in Houston. He's their best run defender on the defensive line. And he has had a bad knee injury in the past, but they don't seem to be working on his knee.
Take a look at Leuenberger, the center. They're going to get into him, working with him, drives him back. And what happens, of course, he drove him back over the other offensive lineman. He drove him back over Roger Ivey, who was coming down for the middle linebacker. That's that old schoolyard play where someone jumps up behind you and lays down behind you, and someone comes up and pushes you over their back. You remember how you used to do that when you was young? Well, that's exactly what happened. But this time, you got a 265-pounder who wasn't just pushing you lightly. He was throwing you and knocking you down over the top of it.
That's fine when you're 8 or 9 years old, but when you go 265 or 280, that'll hurt.
Well, Leuenberger had a great block, though. He really had Lowe going the way he wanted him to go and almost had him flat without having the help of someone laying down behind him.
There's some outstanding people in the trenches in this football game for both Baylor and Colorado. 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Smith goes across the formation in motion, and Hagan wants to throw it. And he's got a man wide open. Sean Brown at the 5. He'll walk in. Touchdown, Colorado.
What a great play. Counter-action type play. Brown lined up on the left side. He came all the way across the right side of the field. Hagan rolled out to his right. And, of course, Sean Brown coming from the left to the right, caught it, just took it into the end zone. Great design on the play.
Extra point attempt by Harper is right through the middle of the new NFL goalpost. So Colorado strikes first. 14:27 left, second quarter. The Golden Buffaloes 7, the Baylor Bears nothing.
53 seconds. As we set up on top of the show, we felt there's going to have to be some kind of big plays, 18, 20, 25-yard plays in it. They wasn't going to do it just pound, pound, pound. Well, that was a good example of what we felt was going to have to be done for either team to win the ball game.
Here's Berger to kick off, either Lee Miles or Reggie Miller. It'll be Miles, and he's 2 yards deep, and Miller didn't want him to come out. And he'll out only to the 13-yard line. Miller was trying to tell Miles to stay in the end zone.
But he didn't do a good enough job. With special team coaches were told that second back there, you run right at the guy, putting your hands up, yelling and screaming because he's concentrating on catching the ball. He didn't realize he was 2 or 3 yards deep in the end zone. Miller was too far upfield to get back there to tell him to stop it, and that's exactly what happens. That guy receiving the ball has to have help from his teammate. It wasn't given to him quick enough. Consequently, they're going to start backed up on their own 13-yard line.
Here's Sean Brown, Granada Hills High School. If it sounds familiar to NFL fans, it should. John Elway, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, went to Granada Hills High School. There's Triple J. He's got to get something going for Baylor. They have moved it effectively on 2 drives. And David Mims, good news, is back in the football game for the Bears at tailback.
Well, I think this is probably an important possession for Baylor now. They need to move the ball. Even if they don't score, they need to move the football to prove to themselves that they can move the ball. Otherwise, Colorado's going to get great field position and could consequently go back and get more points. Crucial drive for Baylor.
And one of the difficult things right now is Baylor is in the loudest portion of the stadium.
You can see Joe trying to audible also. Hard to do.
Pierce leads, Mims, toss sweep, and he won't get much. Beeker, Steed work down the line of scrimmage. Richard Fisher, 88, also in there, the junior from Dangerfield, Texas.
See what they're doing, they're trying to work and get that play to the outside. They're taking Pierce and using him as a movement tight end coming out of the backfield. He's anticipating that they're going to run the ball more to the outside. He's kind of standing there. I think that's what the coach is going to tell him on his sideline. You got to move back in there to help out on that block rather than wait for the defensive lineman to come out to you or linebacker.
Matt Gann is in at right tackle for Craig Bellamy for the Bears. Now Pierce lines up at a tight end. Here comes the option. Joe's got some room. Joe's got a lot of room. He's across the 30, still going to the 35-yard line. Big play for the Bears, and then a late hit.
Well, this one was over in front of the Baylor bench, and this time it was called. I think that this is a good call by the officials. Just see on the replay. Here's the option. Fakes the ball. You can see him converging on straight to the inside. Looks like he might be. I see the daylight. And watch as he gets to the sideline here when he gets out of bounds, how late he is hit out of bounds. Right there, way out of bounds. The hit was way late.
Eric Hamilton was the guilty party, the junior from Gardena, California. Number 6, the strong safety. He loves to lay a welt on people, but this time it was 2 yards out of bounds. And that is dangerous. Again, you see the wall right there on the right portion of your screen. Not a lot of room on the sideline here between the sideline, the playing surface, and the fans.
But that play plus the penalty really got Baylor out of the hole. They go from their own 13-yard line now to the 50-yard line, puts themselves in a position to run the offense that they want to run.
Actually, the nose of the ball in Colorado territory. Mims, tailback, and he'll do well to get to the line of scrimmage. Leonard Renfro and the man in the middle again, 19, Greg Beekert. He led the Big 8 in tackles a season ago. Beekert is just a junior. He's from up the road in Longmont, just about 20 minutes from Boulder.
Well, but he's got good size. He's got that experience. You're talking about 6'3", 220-pounder. He's already got 2 letters. This will be his third year lettering. He just looks like a pro-type linebacker. Look at him. Got that little thing back there. He's got his shoulder pads up in the air. Tough.
Lee Miles goes wide to the top. Reggie Miller wide to the near side. They go toss sweep. Mims has a little bit of room, but it closes down quickly at the 47-yard line. Marcellus Elder And also Chad Brown, 34, an outside linebacker in the neighborhood.
There you can see the effects of the sprained left ankle that Mims had. He was coming to his left, and he really wanted to plant and cut back to the inside a little bit on the outside play, but he just didn't have quite the strength and power that he normally would have on a play that way, so he had to kind of slide into that turn. Consequently, Colorado recovered. Big third down play now for Baylor.
They need 8 yards. They have to get it nearly to the 39 of Colorado. Second quarter. 12-13 left. Joe has time. Outside man wide open. He's still going. Tightrope in the sideline. Alonzo Pierce out of bounds. They say at the 11, unless he stepped out earlier. No, they say he went out at the 25-yard line. But Ed, how did he get so wide open?
He got so wide open because Colorado, the same pass that they completed earlier with the outside receiver running the curl to the inside, this time they ignored him outside. See the curl man in there? That's why he's wide open to the outside. They were all kind of convergent on the curl pattern they had completed a couple times earlier to Miles. Now, Alonzo goes right down that sideline at the completion.
Pierce, the senior from Jack Yates High School in Houston. They've turned out a ton of good players. Robert Strait pounds the middle for 3, maybe 4. Richard Fisher will get up last defensively. Former high school All-American out of Sugarland. There's Mr. Strait. Oh, just a sophomore, 6'1". They list him at 230. We know better. Coach said he's closer to about 2.5.
I would say he's about 248, give or take a few pounds, whether he's just eating or whether he's right after practice.
Second down, and they'll call it 7 yards. Mims with the football and some room. He'll get it down inside the 20 to the 17. Ronnie Wolford was there for Colorado to stop it at that point. But again, Baylor moving the football well. To further illustrate, Ed, we have a timeout.
Well, we got an injured player, John Turnpaul. Looks like he injured his shoulder on this play. On a step around block. He stepped on the block on the outside to get the play. And of course, here's the replay. Wow, also looked like a little bit of a face mask call in there, but the official didn't call. But John Turnpaul came off the field.
David Leaks has replaced him, a sophomore, 6'4" and 305, number 69. To further illustrate how effective the Baylor ground game has been recently, Baylor has won 7 of their last 8. Pick up on that thought in a moment. Third down and 3. McKenzie goes in motion. Reverse, here comes Miles. He scored on the play last week. And this will go nowhere. Big loss.
Oh.
Fisher in the backfield stayed home, as did Chad Brown.
What a great play by Chad Brown. Chad Brown just saw this all the way. Well, it was a good call. I thought it was a good call by the offensive coaches. But watch Chad Brown standing outside here waiting for it. See, no place for him to go. No place for him to go. That allows Fisher and the rest of the defensive players to recover. But a great play by Chad Brown, who's slow to reverse down.
So we'll get a field goal attempt of 41 yards. Jeff Ireland is in the football game, the senior from Abilene. 41 yards, and now with the far hash marks, the college hash marks, and the NFL goalpost, he has to push it across. He got it through. Jeff Ireland from 41 yards away has the Bears on the board. 10:04 to go in the half. It's Colorado 7 and Baylor 3. It's UTEP. Colorado has allowed just 3 touchdowns in their last 17 quarters. So it is not easy to put it in the end zone against the Buffaloes. And here is that scoring drive for 3 points. They go 63 yards. It took 9 plays. Jeff Ireland, again, with the goalpost now 18.5 feet as opposed to 23-plus feet, it is really tough on the college kickers.
Well, especially with the hash mark. In the pros, those hash marks are, more to the middle of the field. You're talking about a big difference than what the pros have to attempt. They're kicking from the middle of the field all the time. Interesting to me, I think the fact that both coaches realize they got to throw the ball a little bit because of the great defensive lines of the other 2 teams.
5 yards deep, and Charles Johnson says, well, we'll take it at the 20. Perhaps he learned something from Lee Miles.
And as we talked about, the other back was right there helping him that time, whereas in Baylor's case, that other back was about 17 yards upfield, and he couldn't see what he really wanted. That was the difference in 2 fundamental football plays from special teams.
Bill McCartney doesn't wear a headset anymore. A couple of years ago, he said, I was getting too involved with the offense and worrying about the defense, and Just figured I'd be more effective if I took the headset off. What are your thoughts on a head coach taking them off?
You got to do what you feel are most comfortable with. I think, just your style, your individual style.
Hagan, 1st and 10 from the 20, gives to Chuck Snowden, the first time we've seen him today, and he lunges to the 24, but I don't know if they'll give him that. His knee might have been down. No, they say...
yeah, they're going to bring it back.
Yeah, they are going to bring it back. The knee was down at the 22-yard line, so just a pickup of 2. Snowden, another one of those tailbacks, getting a shot to win the job. He's a sophomore from right here in Boulder. He went to Fairview High School. He goes 6'1" and 205. He's a little bigger than Ken Call and Matt Bell. Johnson goes across the formation. Hagan, time, has Hill. Good catch with one hand, and James Hill will bust it for a first down to the 32-yard line before Leashay Maston and Michael McFarland combined to bring him down.
Well, what a big-time play by James Hill that was with that catch. With that right hand after a catch. Just watch Hill, the fullback, makes a little fake. Again, the counter-action type stuff. Watch him reach up here now with the right hand and bring it back into the left. Well, that's just a great catch.
McFarland received the blow rather than delivering the blow on that one. 9:14 left. Here comes option. Hagan in a world of trouble, and he'll be dropped for a loss. 47 in there was Brian Hand. Also, Curtis Hafford, number 99. And good news, 95 Marcus Lowe is back in the football game at a left defensive tackle for Baylor. So 2nd down and 11. 7-3, Colorado leading, 8:45 left, first half. Drew Goodman and Ed Biles from Folsom Field in Boulder. James Hill gets maybe 2. Teddy Patton bottled that one up, the senior from Cisco.
It's one of those plays you kind of outthink yourself. You think, well, 2nd and 10, maybe they're going to think we're going to be coming with the counter-action passes or something outside, and they'll be working their linemen to the outside. We're going to run it inside. The play didn't work, and Baylor did a good job playing it. Now we're in that 3rd down. Now here's where they've had great success with some counter-action stuff. Watch that tight end coming across from the left all the way over to the right on this play.
3rd down, they need the 43-yard line. Henry in motion. Hagan's got time, and he's low and away for his intended target. I think it was Rico Smith, but that was not a well-thrown ball.
It really wasn't. He threw it in between both of them. It just seems to be much more comfortable when he's trying to find that big tight end coming across in the middle rather than going those outside patterns.
So Baylor will get the football back, and they should get it in pretty good field position. Berger's in to punt, and Lee Miles is back at his own 27.
That was a good series for Baylor's defensive folks.
Remember Tyrone Thurman at Texas Tech? Lee Miles reminds you a little bit of him. This is a big, booming punt. The spiral turns over, and Miles is backed up to his 14 and dropped at the 22. Defensively, it was Tony Senna, backup running back from San Antonio on special teams.
Oh, he made a great play, and I'll tell you what, if he don't make that tackle, Miles looked like he had the opportunity to get to the outside here and maybe make some yardage. And Miles is down on this play. Looks like he may have got that ankle twisted when he went down.
A punt of 52 yards and a return of 6. Mentioned Tyrone Thurman. Lee Miles next to Tyrone Thurman would look like Kareem Jabbar.
Yeah, Miles is really small. And you know what? They've gone down a lot of ankle injuries so far in this ballgame, but this turf, we were down on the field earlier, is really soft. It's only about a year or two old, I'm sure, because the surface is very soft. Let's see if we can find out what happens to him here. There he catches it. Now, if he can get to his left here, to the outside, if that tackle is missed, and all kind of running room.
Well, the good news is, whatever it was, he's fine, because Lee is jogging off. Maybe it's just he lost his shoe and he wanted to tie it on the field. Maybe he just wanted a break.
I was going to say, that might be smart strategy on a day like this. A little warm, you're visiting a team. Get your teammates a little rest once in a while.
1st and 10 for the Bears at the 21-yard line. McKenzie moves over to a tight end. Here comes Robert Strait, and he'll get maybe 3 yards straight ahead. Again, it is Greg Beekert, inside linebacker 19, and also 39, Jeff Brunner, who's a backup nose tackle and the strongest player on the team, 6'2" and 255. And Lee Miles right back in the offensive huddle.
I couldn't believe it about that Jeff Brenner. He can squat 555 pounds.
And he bench presses over 400 pounds.
He can go out here and lift the stadium up if they need help.
They could move it if they need to, make a couple extra parking spaces. 2nd down and 8. Joe waggles, has a man, tight end at the 40-yard line is Alonzo Pierce. And now a flag comes in late. Dion Figures knocked him out.
That's interesting. Both teams using almost mirror plays. That's the same play that Colorado had success with Brown coming across the field. Personal foul, late hit against Colorado on their bench. Same identical play. Watch this. Counter pass, fakes there. He's going to roll out to his right. Tight end started on the left, going across to his right. There he breaks open. Alonzo Pierce takes it. Now he gets out of bounds.
Well, I know one thing.
That was a tough call. That was a tough call.
That was a real tough call.
It really was. I think they felt they may have missed one earlier, but there's nothing wrong with this hit at all.
No, that you have to let go. I mean, that's right on the sideline, and Figures was lined up to hit him already.
Yeah, I did disagree. I disagreed with a couple earlier, but I really disagree with that one.
McCartney will get angered, obviously, if there are hits on the sideline, because he believes in poise, and he teaches poise. But that one was questionable. Mims dives for a couple. Brian Diet was in there. Diet, sophomore from Pomona High School in Arvada, Colorado. And now we have a Buffalo down on the field. And it's Richard Fisher, inside linebacker, the guy from Sugarland.
Well, he's been a good one for him. Been really a consistent player. Only a sophomore.
It is a very, very physical game.
Oh, it really is. There's a lot. Well, you've got the great defensive linemen. This is kind of a masculine test. Much has been said about how good Colorado's defensive line is. Much has been said about how good the Baylor defensive line is. Much has been said about the fine Baylor, the Letterman and the Baylor offensive line. So it's kind of a test to say who's the toughest, and there's some hitting going on. Good, clean hitting. No cheap shots. That's
what Grant Taft likes. He said, I like when it's 3rd and 3. You line up and you run the football between the tackles. I love that kind of football. Well, with 6:50 left, we'll step aside for a moment. Colorado 7, Baylor 3. Colorado got it back and was able to score a touchdown. Hagan to Sean Brown, but Baylor came right back, and Ireland kicked one from 41 yards, and you're up to date. Roberts straight to the 40-yard line. He'll be about 3.5 yards short of a first down. Joel Steed got a piece of him along with Mr. Beekert in the middle.
Some people have a tendency to say, why does he keep running straight inside when he's only making 2 and 3 yards? Basically what that does is set up all the outside stuff. That also helps set up that counter action play because they have to hold, the linebackers and the linemen have to hold in there so they make sure the straight isn't getting the football. Now they can do the option and get the passes off the play action.
Big down for the Bears, 3rd and 4. McKenzie in motion, here comes the option. Joe, he won't go anywhere. Well defense by Chad Brown, the junior from Altadena, California.
Well, I think there was a mix-up on the play. There just had to be a complete mix-up on that play. There were too many people standing around out there now. It's like Mims wasn't sure whether he's going to get the ball to him or whether Joe was going to option it. Baylor didn't look sharp with that play, especially on the 3rd down play.
Ken Brentham will be in the ball game, and he'll try to coffin corner this one. 2 punts today, 49.5 yards. So Brentham enjoying the high altitude. And this one goes off the side of his foot. It is not a good effort. And it'll be out of bounds, in the mid-20s. See where the official stops. I love this.
Well, he felt the pressure. Instead of keeping that toe like that, he raised it up.
I love when the official kind of arbitrarily walks up the sideline, and all of a sudden when the moment hits him, he just stops.
Well, he's supposed to be looking at the referee. The referee is in the position to make that move.
Well, Special Order Sports Business. We're in Boulder, Colorado. The national champions lead 7-3, and Darian Hagan squirts and dives for about 4. Drew Goodman along with Ed Biles, 5-10, left first half.
The way he's supposed to be lining those punts up, as you were talking about there, Drew, that referee who stands right by the punter, he's the one that should see the angle. He should bring him to that point, and then the spot should be marked with it. They have a system for doing it, so they ought to be pretty good at it. Well, those are outstanding games on that pay-per-view coming up here down the line in October.
I think Houston will bounce back from the shellacking Thursday night against Miami. And all sorts of movement. Right tackle, Jim Hansen jumped. And also Lowe and Dotson appeared to move.
Well, see which way they call it.
It's going to go against Colorado, a false start. And Bill McCartney not very pleased. What a job McCartney's done here. His first season, they won one football game.
That's one of the good things about not having a headset on. You can go talk to the officials and yell and scream at them. See, if he had the headset on, now he had to be worried about something else. Working those officials on the sidelines. Good coach. Has done a great job here.
So it'll be second down and 11 for Colorado. And Hagan wants to throw it. And he wants a bunch, and he's got a man out there. Rico Smith picked off downfield. What a play. Clifford Ellison recovered, got up high, and robbed it from Rico Smith.
Well, I'll tell you, Clifford, the defensive secondary coach, Scott Smith, has to be the happiest guy in the world. This is exactly the way he's been drilled. Now watch when this ball is thrown, how he times it up, and watch how he goes up and leaps and intercepts it at its highest point. See him going up right there to get it at its highest point, exactly the way the secondary coach has been telling me. You've been throwing passes to him since preseason. Roll out pass, trying to go for the bundle. Hagan throws a deep one. Wow, almost a late hit there. And watch him go up now and take this at its highest point. What a great interception.
You know, that ball was not well thrown because Smith had about 3 steps on the secondary and the ball hung up there forever. But Baylor will take it at their own 35, and Joe goes straight back. He's got a man, and he overthrows number 83, Melvin Bonner.
Well, the other person that helped that interception was Leonard Renfro. He was right up in the face of Hagan, and forced him to maybe throw the ball a little higher than what he wanted to.
You know, 5 of the last 6 ball games, 6 of the last 7 now, dating back to mid-last season, Baylor has rushed for 200-plus yards. When they just put the veer option back in, the first 5 ball games, they only had 1 game where they were over 200 yards rushing. So they're starting to figure it out. Here comes Joe, option, Mims, all kinds of room. He'll get it out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Now the 47 of Colorado, but they'll move the chains.
Again, that's the value of running straight inside, keeping them honest. When he comes with the option, he gets on downfield. Made a great pitch to Mims. Mims would like Pierce to get ahead on that block a little bit, and I'd have taken it all the way.
Quick quarterback comparison. Hagan is 5 of 8 for 68 yards, a touchdown and interception. Triple J is 4 of 9, 67 yards. 1st and 10 from the Colorado 47. Joe, down the middle. Tight end's got it, wrapped up the 29-yard line. Steve Stutzman, the senior from Dangerfield. Eric Hamilton laid the rope on him there, and it's Hamilton who is slow to get up. He's a little bit off kilter right now, and he's helped off the field. They're finding those tight ends dragging across the middle.
All of it, both teams with the counter action pass, which makes it very difficult. When you worry about playing the option, your linebackers can't get the drops in zone coverage. They got to hang in there to see whether it's going to be a running play. Then they've got to recover and get back. And those tight ends coming across are difficult to find them coming. And that wasn't the tight end's testament, but he's playing the same position as a tight end.
1st and 10 for the Bears at the Buffalo 29. McKenzie in motion, straight, is grabbed and brought down in a hurry by 93 Joel Steed. He beat Scott Barron on that play.
And again, just that inside play to say, hey, we still got straight. He'll run the ball inside if you start thinking about being outside.
Seven to 3, 3:16 to go, first half. 2 receivers come to the near side. Miller goes wide. They give off, and this will be shy of the line of scrimmage. Ronnie Woolfork is in there, and John Knutson, 36, the freshman who replaced Richard Fisher, who continues to be looked at on the Colorado sideline. John Henry checks into the football game now at fullback for Robert Strait. It'll be 3rd and 11, and this is where Baylor broke down last time and had to go for 3.
Well, this, of course, is a situation they don't like to get into because they're not really what you'd call a conventional passing team.
They have twins to both sides.
Quarterback draw.
Quarterback draw, and it's there. Joe will get very close to a first down. He needed the 19, and he's dropped about the 20-yard line by Greg Lindsay. And it'll be about a yard shy.
And I think with the 3 points up on the board, there you see the quarterback draw. He really milked this for about as much as he can get. Watch as he goes down. He really throws the ball forward, and they gave him full progress. I think Grant Taft will possibly go for this.
Well, I think he will. I don't see any special teamers or field goal unit guys huddled around Taft. McCartney's irate at the spot, I believe, and Taft has called a timeout. So while Bill works the coaches, Grant will figure out a play to gain a yard.
Well, I think to get the spot right at the spot.
I think the spot is pretty good.
Yep. So look at the replay. You can see he hit right on that line with it. Now, if they give him where he bounced to.
Here's an update on Rich Fisher, the inside linebacker for Colorado. He has a sprained right knee and will not return. 2 minutes even left in the first half from Folsom Field in Boulder. Drew Goodman and Ed Biles.
This is the most important play of the ball game so far. They're going for it here on 4th down with 2 minutes, with the opportunity, if they make it, to continue and maybe put some points on the board right before the half and keep the ball away from Colorado. 4th and about a half a yard. What are you going to call?
Well, last week they had 1 4th down situation and they were unsuccessful going for it, 0-1 on the season. You know what? I'd give it to that big 250-pound load, number 20, Robert Strait. I don't think you can stop him behind the line of scrimmage, can you?
Well, I think the one thing that they do, they'll take a look. If possibly Joe sees any daylight between the 2 defensive tackles and his center, he may just take it and go straight ahead. Otherwise, he'll probably give it to Strait. To his right, he might be able to see a little daylight.
Joe keeps it. He'll have the first down and more. He runs the option down to the 12-yard line. First down, Baylor Bears.
Good call by the offensive coordinator. A little bit of gamble involved, but it was a good call. Everybody inside, like you and I, thinking they'd run the sneak or give it to Strait. Comes the option, gets to the corner, gives them the first down on the 12-yard line. There again, you can see Triple J doing it. Well, that's an excellent call by Chuck Reedy.
He really is impressive. Just a sophomore, number 13. They go to Mims, and Mims is crushed at the line of scrimmage by Greg Beekert and Marcellus Elder. They call Elder earthquake, and on the Richter scale, that was about a 4-6.
Whew. Watch this hit in there. Give the ball to tailback Mims right there, and watch him get hit. He stops right there, and boom, all of a sudden you got Beekert, you got Elder, and people underneath.
And one thing that Baylor has to be aware of is the clock. It's approaching 1 minute left in the half. They have 2 timeouts left. Second down and 10. McKenzie lines up now to tight end. Strait will fall ahead to the 20-yard line. Brian Dyatt and John Knutson got him there. So now it'll be a 3rd down. They need the 2-yard line. And the clock's still moving inside 44, 43 seconds. 7-3, Colorado leads. In a defensive struggle here, it's what we figured. Lee Miles is checked into the ball game, and he'll split out to the near side. Melvin Bonner goes to the top. 3rd down and about 9.
That'll be an option or rollout of some type.
Here's the option. Joe spins, and he'll get to the 8-yard line, and that is all. Ronnie Woolfolk closed down in a hurry from his outside linebacker position. There is Woolfolk, and now Baylor will let the clock run down to 8 seconds, call the timeout, and bring the field goal unit on in all probability.
Yeah, I would think they'll take the field goal here with it being 4th down and 6 to go, and get points right before the halftime and put them within 1 point of the ball game.
There's the situation. The new Dow Ward Center, that's where that new scoreboard sits atop at Folsom Field. $12 million new facility, and Baylor has a new facility in their end zone as we look again at the play.
There's the play, tried to run the option. Just slowed down enough that the missed tackle didn't hurt him. Great recovery in there by Woolfolk to make the tackle. keep you from picking up big yardage.
So Baylor with a new facility, also Colorado with this new facility. It'll house the weight room, the coaches' offices. It has a cafeteria in there where the players eat their training table, and locker room's a gorgeous, gorgeous facility. So Baylor and Colorado continue to upgrade two of the most successful programs in the country.
Well, if you had a son or daughter, you certainly wouldn't be ashamed to have them go to either one of these two fine universities. Both of them good schools, good academic places, good environments, just ideal college campuses, both of them.
Jeff Ireland had the other hash mark from 41 yards. Now he is on the far hash mark. This one will be from 26 yards away. High snap. Ireland has it blocked. Colorado recovers at the 10. The snap was high, and Jeff had to wait to kick the football, and then he just kicked it low, and Knutson blocked it.
Well, the snap messed up his timing. He started, normally on the snap you start, he had to stop, then he had to start back up again, and he just didn't get his foot in the ball properly.
Matt Gant is the snapper. Brentham had to go up high to pull it down. Watch again.
Watch the snap. You see how high it is. See him stop, take that little stutter step in there. That's the key to the fact that he didn't get it up. Watch this angle. Now watch him stutter step here. Watch him stop. Whoop, see the stutter step? Now his timing's messed up, and he comes in low, and you can see they didn't block it as much as he kicked the ball low.
Not only that, it was such a high snap, Brentham couldn't even spin it. He kicked the laces. And with 3 seconds left, I would think Hagan will just fall on the football here. He gives off to Snowden, and Snowden will get to about the 12-yard line, and the first half is in the books from Folsom Field in Boulder. Colorado, the defending national champions, leads Baylor only by 4, 7-3.
Last year 6-4-1. This year offensively, some might say back to the future with the eye veer, but how much of that is because of your quarterback J.J. Joe, who just really had a great year running out of that?
Well, Joe fits this concept very well. He is a youngster that is, I refer to him as a point guard at quarterback. He makes good decisions. He handles the ball extremely well. He's not blessed with great speed, nor does he have a pro-style quarterback arm, but he does a very good job, and I think he'll really fit well into this philosophy.
Last year, Baylor was number 2 in the Southwest Conference rushing, 15th nationally, and it was despite using 3 quarterbacks in part due to injuries, and breaking in Robert Strait. Now, Robert Strait, once he broke in, had a lot to do with those high numbers. You got him now all year, and you got some depth in running back, too.
Yes, we do. We have good depth both at tailback and at fullback. This time a year ago, we had good tailbacks, but no fullback. As a matter of fact, we went into the Nebraska game, our opening game a year ago, with a cornerback as a starting fullback. That's where we were, and of course, Robert Strait has emerged. We've got good backup people behind him. And the big key that we've got offensively, we've got a good offensive line, maybe the best in the league.
One of those fellows, of course, it seems like he's been here forever, is John Turnpaugh.
John started as a freshman, so he's played for 4 years, and he's progressed and gotten better each and every year, and right now he's probably one of the best guards in the nation.
One advantage you have, really, I guess, when we talk about Robert Strait is the fact that there's a question, is he a fullback or is he a tailback? Well, that's a matter of lining him up. Really, he's both as far as able to play either one, isn't he?
Sure. You know, he fills the role for us as what is referred to as a fullback, but it's a misnomer in the sense that he's going to carry the ball a bunch. All you got to do is know that he broke or tied the Baylor record for touchdowns last year as a freshman and only played in about half of the ball games. So he's going to carry the ball plenty from that position.
The other side of the ball, the defense, somewhat gets underrated, I guess. You know, here we've spent most of this conversation so far offensively. Your defense has been pretty strong, and those that are around say that it should be again this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be good again. We've led the conference for the last 2 years as the #1 defense. We shouldn't be too far off this year. Our weakness is that we have lost some experience in secondary, but as starters go, but we still have some good solid people to fill in back there.
Defensive end Robin Jones, one of the keys to the Baylor University defense, led the team in sacks last year, and along with teammate Santana Dotson makes up part of a pretty strong defensive line. But Robin, the emphasis always seems to be on Baylor, the talk about the offense, whether it was the years when Grant Taft threw the ball or now with the veer and the option type offense. You defensive guys get overlooked sometimes, and yet you get the job done.
Yeah, that's the way that we've grown to be accustomed to. You know, we always just hang around in the background, but really doing our job and holding this team together. When we finished number one in Southwest Conference defense for the last 5 years or however it goes, it's just something that we strive to do, work hard in the back. You know, the offense guys always get all the publicity, so it's nothing, you know, we're unfamiliar with. But, you know, what goes around, come around, you know, a lot of people appreciate us. But, you know, whatever happens, happens.
Santana Dotson, I mentioned his name. You competitive with him to go get that quarterback?
Yes, well, what people don't really realize, Santana and I are real good friends off the field, you know, so that competitiveness is there, and then being a teammate playing the same position, of course you're going to always, you know, a lot of people want to say, you know, you're your own person, but you're going to always try to compete against him. He's an All-American candidate, and you want to be just as good, but being friends, you know, it's really a friendly thing. It's not anything, you know, really damage to him or anything, but yeah, it's real competitive between he and I.
Let me ask you about the defensive practice habits. If you have a run and shoot team, the old saying is it's tough for your defense to be good against other football teams because you practice so much against the run and shoot, or those backup offensive players really don't learn the other style. What about your situation now? You're going to be going against, in practice, at least your first team, the I, the veer, not maybe a team that throws the ball as much. Is that good or bad when then you go against a TCU or a Houston or someone that throws the ball a lot?
Well, I think it takes maturity. You have to grow up and just know each week is going to be different. And then practicing against the veer all week, it can prepare us for teams like Arkansas and Colorado, whatever. But you have to grow up and just learn. You know, you have to take each week at a time and just start off Monday fresh, watching film and study a lot. It's going to take an extra effort, but it can be done.
Baylor taking on the University of Colorado, joined now by the head coach of the Baylor Bears, Grant Taft. And Grant, 20 years in Waco, Texas. Is it sometimes hard to comprehend that you've been there 2 decades?
Well, it really is. You know, I'm starting to recruit the sons of my former players, so that means we've been there quite a while. But it's been, for the most part, really a wonderful experience, and we love Baylor and love the Baylor people, and we are proud of where our program is and where it's going.
One of the things that has to help the program is the fact that you've built a new facility in the end zone to house the players, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's one of the finest and most functional facilities in America. It has 3 floors. The lower floor is all football, weight rooms, dressing rooms, training rooms, meeting rooms, dressing rooms, everything that our players need. Have 11,000 square foot weight room. Then the second floor is our football coaches' offices and work areas and our administration in part of that. And on the third floor is a VIP floor that will hold about 2,000 people with VIP seating.
That's a wonderful facility. It has to help you recruit, and it's easy to notice when you look down the roster. One of the things that jumps out at you is the fact that just about everybody on the roster is from the state of Texas. In fact, you traveled to Colorado today. If I'm right, only 2 players who didn't play high school ball in the state of Texas. Will this help you recruit outside of the state?
Well, you know, the truth is we really do not recruit that much out of state. What we would like to do is select young men that want the kind of education that Baylor can give, wants to be in the kind of philosophy that we have at Baylor University, the way we treat youngsters, our graduation rate. If something is appealing to a youngster outside of the state, we're certainly going to be interested, but we don't go out of the state recruiting that much.
You've had a number of opportunities over the years because you've been so successful to go elsewhere, and I'm sure many of those were enticing, but each time you turn around and you say, I'm going to keep my house where it is in Waco and keep my office exactly where it is.
Well, I moved my office this last April when we moved to the new facility after 19 years, but my house is still the same, and I hope it'll remain there the rest of my coaching career. Baylor's been very good to me, and I hope that I've been good to Baylor.
Let me ask you about your relationship with your counterpart today, Bill McCartney. It is one that transcends football, is it not?
Well, Bill and I have a lot in common, and we hopefully are good football coaches, but more than that, we're family men. We love to be around each other, and we spend time in the summers together, and then we both have a real deep commitment and try to live it out as best we can.
Now, Grant, does it help out a little bit, probably on both sides of the football, the fact that you both like to run option, you both know each other very well? Is that an advantage to either you or Bill?
Well, it probably will create some interesting things on the field this afternoon, because I'll bet you anything that there'll be some interesting things occur on the field that will be sort of unsuspected, probably both ways, because we do understand each other's philosophy so well.
What is the most important thing for a student athlete, a football player at Baylor, to get out of his education in his 4 or 5 years in Waco?
Well, you know, one of the most important things is a person becomes educated. You know, it's one thing to get a degree, but in getting that degree, you should become an educated person. And one of the things that has always been appealing to me about Baylor is that we try to educate the total person. We think the spiritual side is just as important as the physical or the mental side. And in so doing, we've had an astonishing graduation rate over the years, and that pleases us, but we think we and others across the nation can even do a better job, and I believe we will.
Mike Singletary is a player who was an All-American for you, and he became a household name with the Chicago Bears. He continues to be an outstanding, if not the best middle linebacker, certainly one of the 2 or 3 best inside backers in the game. When I mention Mike Singletary, I see you smiling. What do you think of right off the bat?
Oh gosh, I love him. He's a great youngster. Man, I guess now, not a youngster, but he's great. He's as great a person as he is a player, and I think he may be as good as ever played the game at his position. He is wonderful for us, a great leader, and he's a great friend.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming by, Coach, and best of luck as the afternoon continues.
Thanks so much.
All right. Grant Taft, the head coach at Baylor University. We'll come back to Boulder. Halftime continues. And actually mixing it up. They had good balance, and they have over 100 yards more than Colorado in total offense. But in terms of time of possession, they have really, really dominated. The only place that they're not winning the football game, unfortunately for them, is on the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, time of possession doesn't become important if you don't put points on the board. That's one of the misleading stats. You know, if you score fast and the other team doesn't score, that time of possession doesn't mean a thing. It's an indication that Baylor has been able to run the ball a little bit, but basically that running yardage was on 2 plays. The option play by Joe on 1 play, and where he made the option made the pitch to Mims on the other. It's a close ball game. Still anyone's ball game. I think the team that kind of in that 4th quarter sucks it up a little bit, the conditioning factor, whether the air up here has any factor, but the team that can make a couple of big plays in the 4th quarter and avoid turnovers in the second half will be the team that wins this football game.
As you can tell, only one touchdown in this ball game. Let's take a look at that right now. Darian Hagan, in a 70-yard drive, moved it very quickly down the field, and he found his tight end, Sean Brown, wide open.
It was a counter pass we talked about both teams using with a fake play action. Sean Brown came across on the left all the way to the right, was wide open, of course took it in the end zone for the touchdown.
But more total offense for Baylor. You talked about the 4th quarter, perhaps coming down to conditioning. Do you think philosophically either team will do something different here in the second half?
No, I don't think they're going to do much different. These are 2 basic football coaches. They believe in fundamentals. They don't think you win football games by tricks. Now, each of them will have a little surprise, like Grant Taft come with the tight end in the backfield and something of that nature, and they may have one trick play or 2. But basically, these coaches know that you win by blocking, tackling, playing good, solid fundamental. That's why they both have the records that they've had. That's why they had the success that they've had.
Yeah, no surprise there, is it?
No surprise whatsoever in this first half.
All right, let's take a look at some other ball games going on in college football this afternoon. Baylor has won 7 of their last 10 football games. In fact, the only losses were to Houston and Texas in a good ball game, and they tied Texas A&M 7-2-1 over their last 10. And they will kick it off to Colorado to begin the second half. Drew Goodman and Ed Biles. Jeff Ireland has it teed up, and Colorado will send Eric Mitchell and Charles Johnson deep. Actually, it's Hudson deep now with Johnson, and Chris Hudson will down it 5 yards deep. Good kickoff by Ireland, and the Buffs will start at their own 20-yard line. Their quarterback is the guy they call Mr. Magic, Darian Hagan. As a sophomore, he became only the 6th quarterback in NCAA history to rush for 1,000 and pass for 1,000 in the same season. He finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy balloting that year.
Interesting stat, though, in the first half. He carried the ball 5 times on option for only 14 yards, and actually 12 of them was on 1 carry, so he really hasn't been a threat with the option.
And the Buffs rushed for only 51 yards in the first half. They have a decent gain with James Hill on first down. Leishay Maston brought him down. 51 yards for the Buffs in the first half. And last week against an opponent they were 23-point favorites over, Wyoming, they struggled. They were only up 16-13 with 7 minutes left in the game. They end up scoring 2 touchdowns late and winning by a score really not indicative of the closeness of the game, 30-13, and they rushed for only 167 a week ago. That's unusual. They're a run team. Here's Hagan, and closing down quickly is Brian Hand. He played the option beautifully, didn't he?
He really did. His responsibility was to play the quarterback. He just sat there and waited and forced Hagan to commit back to the inside. Then he drove down in and made the tackle. Boy, talking about tackles, what a first half. Beekert had for Colorado 17 tackles in the first half.
That's incredible. I mean, we did call his name quite a bit, didn't we?
That's a season for a lot of players.
That's right. Of course, Beekert led the Big 8 in tackles as a sophomore. He's only a junior. Here's a big 3rd down for both schools. 3rd down and a long 3. Hagan gives to his tailback and call. I don't know.
Depends on the spot.
It depends on the spot. He spun ahead right at the 30. Jay Leuenberg had a good block at the point of attack. Leishay Maston and Frankie Smith got it, and they'll put the nose across the 30. And just by a couple of inches, they'll move the chains for Colorado. Here is good news if you're a Baylor fan. Colorado, when they rush for less than 200 yards a game, is not a real good football team. They are 5-11 since '85 when they rush for less than 200 a game, just 51 in the first half, and already we see a trend here, Ed. Looks like they want to come out and establish the line of scrimmage rushing the football.
It also looks like they're going to run into the short hash mark or the left side over Craig Anderson and Clint Moore, whether they felt like Baylor might have been taking their linemen and slanting them to the wide side of the field. They've certainly come out here in the second half and running into that short sideline so far. It won't take Baylor long to adjust to that.
2nd down, call it 6 to go. Hagan has Call and Hill in the backfield, and this is Hill, and James Hill will get it within about 2 yards of a first down. Hill has been the workhorse. He had the most carries in the first half, 7, but only 24 yards.
Well, they've come out strong here with a running attack in this 3rd quarter. Back to their kind of football right now.
Bill McCartney figured it would take a while for his young offensive line to grow up. He's got a true freshman there. Hagan tried to take it himself, and I don't think so.
Depends on the spot. If the official coming from the Baylor side puts a spot, I don't think he made it.
I would be very surprised if he got there. Santana Dotson closed in a hurry, and it is almost exactly where it was 10 yards ago. The ball just over the 40.
He either made this or missed it by probably less than an inch. They're going to have to measure this, and it just depends on how they set those chains after the last first down.
Gary Barnett was to the right of Bill McCartney. He's the offensive coordinator for the Buffaloes, and I think they were having the same conversation. McCartney was almost smiling.
This is one.
No, they're short. They're about 3-4 inches short.
Well, I missed it by 2 inches.
Well, McCartney's gambled before. What do you do here, Ed? You're on the yard line.
I think sound, solid football tells you to punt the ball here. I think the motion of a home grade, I think he's going to go for it. And this could be a big turning point. If Baylor stops him here, what a lift, emotional lift it'll be for Baylor.
Well, I know one thing. I wouldn't hand the football off.
They may try to jerk him offside to hold a long count, too.
Hagan takes it.
Got it on the surge.
I would think he got it on the surge. The interesting thing, because Baylor plays an even front, they didn't cover up the center there.
They're both tackles trying to wedge down in between the guard and the center. it's very difficult to make all kind of adjustments for just one particular play. It's awful hard to stop somebody 2 downs in a row for less than an inch. I don't think they need to measure this one. I don't think this one's that close.
Well, they think evidently it is.
There he is. He went straight. Yes, he didn't have it originally, but he took that second surge. The first shot there, he didn't have the first down, but then he took the second surge and he made it with that second effort. Now this one he made by the same amount that he missed it for before.
Yeah, barely. About 3/4 of a football.
That second surge is where he got it. He had made it with the first effort.
Well, you look like a genius when you decide to go for it on 4th down in your own territory and you make it.
Well, you have to have confidence in your offensive line and your offensive team, and that shows them you have confidence in them.
Well, 1st and 10 for Colorado. Initial possession, second half. Hill will try to bounce it outside, and that won't go anywhere. Albert Fontenot, the junior college transfer from Navarro Junior College, who was recruited here in Colorado, made the tackle, and we have a Baylor defender down.
Well, Fontenot was recruited by everybody. He's from Yates High School in Houston. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. He's a player.
There's Marcus Lowe down again, second time this afternoon.
We talked about the fact that Colorado was running into that short sideline. Wouldn't take Baylor long to adjust. They adjusted that time. They dropped their defensive line to the side that they were running to. So now it's going to be 2nd down and 10.
Let's watch Fontenot work down the line of scrimmage against a tight end here, Sean Brown.
That's a good play. They tried to use a full block. See, they were trying to take him down to the inside and have the tackle kind of step around to make that block, but Fontenot uses his hands just the way he's coached. Get your hands on that tight end. Don't let him drive you off the line of scrimmage. Very hard to run the football if an end or an outside linebacker controls the tight end that way.
And slowly, Marcus Lowe makes his way to the sideline, but he's hurting right now.
Well, I think he just re-injured what he had injured early here, and he'll probably got to go there and get a little bit of rest. And competitive he is, senior, he'll probably be back in there in the 4th quarter.
2nd down and 10 for the Buffaloes, and
left guard move.
No question, the left guard, Clint Moore, who is a true freshman, 6'4" and 285, and last year, he was a defensive player in high school, so he hasn't played offense in a while. That offensive line for Colorado, a sophomore, a freshman, a senior in Lewenberg, a sophomore, and then a junior who's really never taken too many snaps.
Well, I'll tell you what, they got one down here. They got a freshman from Clements High School who's all used to Brian Stockberg, who's not playing this game, but he's going to be ready to step in there in a year or so. They will have a tremendous offensive line in a year or two from now.
Now it's 2nd down and 15. Hagan wants to throw it, perhaps. He'll dive to the original line of scrimmage, so give him 5 yards on the scramble up the middle. Good pressure. Looked like a quarterback draw from the get-go, didn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't decide whether it was a quarterback draw or whether Baylor just got that quick pressure on him and forced him to go up through there, because they was anticipating the pass, so they were layering their ears back a little bit. Forced out 3rd and 10. Possession play here early in the 3rd quarter.
Colorado has to get the football to the 49-yard line of Baylor. Hagan in trouble, loses the football. I think Colorado got back on it. And of course, whenever there's a pileup for a loose ball, each team points in one direction.
Of course, that's a position that the football teams want to get Colorado in, where they've got the 3rd and 10, and you know he has to pass. You see what they want to do? They kept him in the pocket. See how they had him surrounded? Great pressure and rush by Baylor, because the 2 ends was outside, the 2 tackles were inside, and with Hagan's size, he can't see through those defensive offensive linemen downfield. He's got to get outside to be successful.
The man who snapped the football recovered the football, Jay Lewenberg. The pressure came from Albert Fontenot. So Mitch Berger back in the ball game. He's hit the ball well today, and this one is really up in the sky. And a fair catch at the 25-yard line by, it's not Kendrick Bell. I thought it would be Kendrick Bell.
It looked like he was looking up at the sun. It looked like he was having some real problems. Frankie Smith, the defensive back, looked like he was really fighting the sun a little bit as he was looking up there as he made the fair catch.
42-yarder on the punt, the return. Baylor and Missouri out of the Big 8 next week back in Waco. And they travel to SMU, and then, remember, October 5th, they have to play at Houston. J. Joe, a quarterback. He wants to throw it, and he wants a bunch, and he's got a man wide open. It's a foot race. Forget it. Bonner's going to win it. No flags down. Touchdown, Baylor Bears. Well, how about that?
Play action. First time they had their hands on the ball. The second half. Fake the play action. They've been throwing all that stuff inside off that play action. All the crossing runners. This time, 6'3", 196-pound junior Melvin Bonner just took off. Watch you now. Instead of curling, now he just takes off and runs down the field, outruns the defensive back. Now it's a foot race. Bonner says, hey, I've got good enough speed to beat you into the end zone. Chris Hudson was just beaten on the play.
Not even close. Bonner was open by 10 yards.
That's what play action does. You get cut up, defensive backs looking into the backfield. That's all it takes, a second for a receiver to run by you.
Now Jeff Ireland, who had one blocked, a field goal, gets a good snap this time and plants it through. It is Baylor 10, Colorado 7 with 10:23 left in the third quarter. 75 yards from Triple J to Melvin Bonner, the junior from Van Fleck.
Play action. So you see the play action, now he's coming back and he's looking for Bonner all the way. No doubt in his mind. Bonner just takes it and kind of waits for a little bit, but now it's a foot race. He's got 35 yards to go, and he smells the touchdown. He can run that 35 yards pretty quick to give Baylor the first lead they've had in this football game.
I'll tell you exactly how quick. 10 seconds. That's all it took. One play, 75 yards. That's rather efficient. 10-7, Baylor is broken on top. And it is really quiet in the crowd here at Folsom Field. 11th consecutive sellout. Better than 51,000 expected.
Baylor defensive players will take that score, but they wish they'd taken 5 or 6 plays and then got to give a chance to get their breath over on that sideline.
Well, altitude might play a factor, more than a mile high here in Boulder, Colorado. And Ireland really kicks the stuffings out of this one. 5 yards deep, and it'll be down to the end zone there by Charles Johnson, and the Buffaloes will start again at their own 20-yard line, now trailing for the first time in the ballgame. And Baylor needed that. They needed something to fire themselves up. They didn't really have momentum going to the locker room because instead of closing to 7-6, they had a short field goal pushed right back in their face. 25-yarder that was blocked.
Well, they really struggled the first half. They fought hard. But lucky they were kind of hanging in there 7-3, and they needed something good to happen to them, and it did.
Kent Call behind James Hill, and Call gets the call, and according to the punt, he gets about a yard. Disrupting everything in the backfield was Marcus Lowe. So Lowe is back in there. He hobbles off, and he hobbles back on, makes a big play in the backfield. It'll be 2nd down and 10 with an even 10 minutes left in the third quarter.
Well, the trainer took some magic tape over there. That time he put green tape on instead of white tape, and that helped him.
I always wondered how that worked. Johnson now in motion, double tight end for Colorado. Now Johnson the other way. Good job of contained, flag down, ball complete. Michael McFarland there defensively. Charles Johnson on the reception, but this one might come back.
This depends on, obviously, on what the penalty call might be. Let's see what they call. Looks like it's against Colorado. Probably that's illegal motion. I thought it might be holding up that area. Man in motion probably turned up before the ball was snapped. That's probably what happened. That's what Coach McCartney's telling him right there. Well, another Baylor player hopping off here.
That's Clifford Ellison, the senior in right corner. That hopefully looks like one. He'll walk off on the sideline and be back in there quickly.
Well, that was a big penalty against Colorado. Instead of having a first down up around the 32 or 3 yard line, they're now backed up 2nd down and 15 on their own 15-yard line. What a difference a 5-yard penalty can make.
Farius Walker, number 41, has replaced Ellison in the secondary for the Bears. Mark Henry now in motion. Hagan throwing, and he's wide of Mark Henry. And one of the things that Baylor has done on the first 3 rollouts of the half for Colorado is contain him, keep Hagan inside.
Well, you can see again that the coaches we talked about the first half, he was getting outside, beating the containment, that they really must have emphasized keeping him in contained, forcing him to throw the football where he doesn't want to throw it, to the sidelines and that. He had great success in the first half, and in the ball game against Wyoming, throwing that ball to that tight end down in the middle area. So far, kind of going outside a little bit more now. Big third down play for Colorado right now.
Colorado was 1 of 3 in the first half on third down and just 3 of 13 last week against Wyoming. They need a bunch here, 15. Hagan in trouble, now throwing downfield. He has Henry at the 32-yard line, working back toward the line of scrimmage. A great route and a great throw by Mr. Hagan. Right in front of 41, Farius Walker, who, to his credit, had pretty good coverage.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. The whole play was made by the receiver. Watch him come back to the ball here. He's in containment. He has to throw it, but the receiver does a great job driving back, getting far enough beyond the first down chain to make the first down. Great, great play. Henry knew exactly what he had to get. He got it. Look where he comes down with that football.
He was a walk-on 4 years ago.
Well, remember that play if they continue to just drive and score.
Big first down for Colorado. They had done little on offense. Here comes a reverse. 86 with the football's Rico Smith, and he'll get 12 yards, but that's not bad because we've seen so many times in the last 2 years, especially with Mike Pritchard, who was the first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, running it, that play go for 70 instead of just 10 or 12.
Play looked like it had good development. The defensive end over there, watch the development of this play. Watch him come back around. You can eventually see him outside over here. See, they had Robin Jones to the inside. He got outside. A good recovery by several of the Baylor defensive players to make that play. Brian Ham being one of them.
Frankie Smith, this could be a out. Can call with some room. We'll get it to the 48-yard line of Baylor. That one looks strange, Ed, in developing. Call got it so far in the backfield.
Well, it was slow developing. Hagan way to the outside before he actually made the option pitch. Baylor was stringing it out at the last minute. Hagan made that pitch. Crawl again, showing you the fact that he really just doesn't have that breakaway speed. He's a good back, doesn't have that breakaway speed.
Well, Call had 50 yards and a touchdown last week, and James Hill said he was so nervous he was shaking in the huddle. It was his first college football game 2 years ago. He's playing high school ball. Call looked good there, and he'll pick up the first down on the Baylor 38-yard line.
Colorado's got a good drive going. They've been mixing it up. They got Baylor a little bit off balance. Completion of that third down pass play was a big one, though. And then coming back with the reverse.
Chris Lewis is checked into the secondary for Keith Caldwell at free safety, and not a whole lot doing for James Hill. And it's tough to run against the middle of that Baylor line. Marcus Lowe and Santana Dotson usually occupy the middle.
And the middle linebacker in there pretty good also.
Dotson and Lowe, both preseason All-Americans. Marcus Lowe started his career at Oklahoma, had a bad knee injury, rehabilitated it, and then transferred back closer to home. He's from Houston.
This has been a play-action formation for him. There it is, the play-action pass.
That was ugly-looking play-action, and Henry narrowly made a terrific reception, but it got popped loose. And coming over to help was Frankie Smith.
Boy, Keith Caldwell also came across there and put a big hit on that play. Keith Caldwell, the free safety, just timed that up good. Made it awful difficult for him. There was a play action off that formation we talked about. Here comes a pass to watch number 3, Keith Caldwell, come into this play right there. Timing it up, he lost his helmet. Caldwell lost his helmet, and also the football comes rolling out of there.
You know, I thought it was Caldwell, and I saw him with his helmet off. And I thought maybe he was on the sideline. I didn't want to call his name. Super play by the junior safety from Austin. Third down and 10. Blitz coming, Hagan reads it, and he misses the man crossing the middle, which was Henry, and that would have been short of a first down. And this time, McCartney won't go for it. He'll send in his punting unit and try to pin Baylor deep.
Hagan just didn't have quite the patience. I think he felt the blitz, but it wasn't as close to him as he felt it was, and he delivered the ball a little too soon. Henry might have taken that pass and broken it open for the first down if he'd had patience and taken a little more time.
Yeah, he did rush it. He did have more time. Blitz was picked up pretty well. Lee Miles is back at his own 10-yard line. Berger will hit it close to midfield. And Miles puts up the fair catch and makes one nicely at the 12-yard line. Started to run, and of course the crowd said, hey, that should be a penalty, but Lee caught himself.
No, I think he's upset himself for making the fair catch.
Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. The Buffaloes, the consensus national champions a year ago, unless I imagine you live around Atlanta, Georgia, you'll get an argument for the Ramblin' Wreck at Georgia Tech. But right now, Baylor leads the football game 10-7, and the difference, a play-action pass on the first play that Baylor touched the football in the second half. Bonner snuck free, and Triple J, J.J. Joe, hit him in stride, 75 yards. And Baylor broke on top by 3.
You think they'd have the courage to call that same play, except this time don't have Bonner go deep, just have him curl in there? It might be open.
We'll see. Joe wants to throw it. Here's play action.
There it is.
And it's complete. And you know what? That's why you coach the Houston Oilers, I guess.
I just thought that'd be a good play. They'd come back with it. The defense has to be thinking about it going deep. He went down there and curled. Good completion off the same action.
Steve Stutzman got free. Well, Coach, you described it. Why don't you do it again?
Well, this was just off the play action. All Stutzman went down. Instead of running through to the goalpost like Bonner did, he went down and curled in there deep. Colorado defensive back says, we're not going to get burned twice in a row. Let's let him catch the one in front of us.
Well, I'm impressed. Pickup of 18, first and 10 at the Baylor 30. Joe wants to throw it again, has a man, missed tackle. It's a foot race. Bonner is free again. Stepped out of bounds in Colorado territory. Let's see where they put it out. The 46-yard line. That was very close to going the distance again. Somebody missed a tackle in the secondary, and Bonner was all alone.
I think you have to be impressed. At halftime, apparently, Grant Taffet, his offensive coach, said, look, we're not having much success running the ball. Let's put it in the air. And that's what they've done so far here. 3 plays in the third quarter, 3 passes. Now that really should start opening up the running game inside. Now Straight might do something inside.
Greg Thomas, the all Big 8 safety, missed a tackle. Joe takes it himself. At 99, Leonard Renfro horse collars him after a pickup of 4. Now Baylor has Colorado off balance.
I think that play was not designed for Joe to run. I think he just didn't quite get there. The handoff was straight, and he had to take it and just follow it back in the hole himself. But as you said, now you kind of got Colorado. Baylor's got Colorado guessing a little. They're going to throw the ball that much in the second half.
Ball rests inside the 43 of the Buffaloes. Lee Miles splits out to the near side. McKenzie in motion. Joe runs option. Plenty of room. J.J. Joe. He'll dive inside the 30 to the 29. Greg Thomas got his ankle there. Everything clicking right now for the Baylor offense.
It really is. That just was a good example of what the option play will do for you. He sends McKenzie in motion. He goes down. McKenzie leading the play downfield. Now that's a surprise of what he did with that stacked eye where he's taking a tight end out to get the kick-out block. And if he could have avoided that tackler, he could have went all the way to the end zone.
5:14. Clock stopped. 5:14 left in the third. Baylor from the Colorado 29. They lead by 3. Crowd trying to rally the Buffaloes. Here's Mims. And this is blown dead. I think you're right. Well, I don't know. I saw some time left on the 25-second clock, so maybe somebody moved on the Baylor side of the ball.
Good call, Drew. Good call.
But nothing like the call a few moments ago on the play action, though. time, and you were right in the huddle for that one, as Darian Hagan looks like a concerned senior right now.
This is really, I think, crucial for Colorado defensively to not allow Baylor to score another touchdown to go up 17. That puts them in a position that they can score a couple of times. The field goal really wouldn't hurt them. You don't want to give it away, but the field goal would only put them up to one touchdown and put Colorado ahead.
First down, 15 yards to go. They go delay to Mims, and he breaks through. Mims will pick up 5 or 6 on a play that looked like it might lose a couple. Renfro and Greg Thomas finally collared him, but David Mims, 5'9", 176 pounds, the ability to make you miss, and that's really what you need with a deep-eye tailback.
Where you really want to grade a back or a football player, how many yards he gains on his own. You or I or anybody, if it's a wide open hole, you can run 10 yards before you get somebody can pick up 10 yards. But when you get in trouble and you avoid people who make tackles and you picked up positive yardage, which is what he did on that play, that's what coaches love to see.
Big play because instead of second down at 15 or 16, it's second down at 9. Mims will go in motion, straight, the only one home in the backfield. This didn't look good from the get-go. A collision between Straight Joe and Beaker shot the gap along with John Knutson, and it'll be a loss of a couple. So now it'll be third down and 11. And Ed, we've seen two similar situations in the first half, down in the, we don't want to call it the red zone, but down in plus territory. They had third down and long. They had a reverse once. They tried to throw once. What do you do here?
Well, I think right now he's going to probably have to put the ball up in the air. And I think he would love, if he could, to get Joe in a position to the outside where he can execute the run option type of it. Conceivably, watch for the tight end come. Oh, he's not coming across.
He's got Miles open, and Miles runs out of bounds. I think he just couldn't keep his feet to stay in bounds. He's going to be 4 yards short, though it did appear if there was a little more room on the sideline, he might have been able to turn it up for a first down.
He really did. Take a look down. You see the two receivers going down, one cleaning out, Miles coming to the outside. Now he's got to make that effort. He lost his balance, and he couldn't just recover his balance to turn upfield. Get about as much out of it as he possibly could. From Colorado's standpoint, holding this to a field goal could be a big factor in the outcome of the ballgame.
Ireland will try one from 40 yards away in the near hash mark. He's 1 for 2 in field goals today. He had one from 41 in the first half. 1 for 25 was blocked. This one looks pretty good. It is 13-7. Baylor stretches their lead to a half dozen with 3:11 left in the third quarter. Best will do, isn't that right, Ed?
Boy, what a big block field goal that was before the half now.
Instead of would have taken 2 scores for Colorado to get back in it. Now they are a touchdown and an extra point away from taking the lead. But they have had trouble moving the football consistently. They did move it into Baylor territory last time they had it, and then Baylor rose to the occasion and forced Colorado to punt. Ireland will hit it either to Charles Johnson or Chris Hudson. And this one will sail out of the end zone. Johnson catches it 9.5 yards deep, and once again, Colorado start with it at the 20.
And Ireland says, if I'm going to be drafted by a pro football team, please, Denver Broncos, draft me with this high air. I can kick them all over the place with this high air.
Scoring drive, 8 plays, 64 yards, and when it broke down, Ireland came in the ball game, and it's so important to have a strong kicking game.
They make a difference. Those special teams make a difference in about 2 games every year.
Double tight end for Hagan. Rico Smith goes in motion, and Darian wants to throw it on first down, and he has Smith open. Good pass, good catch at the 34-yard line. Both down by the strong safety, Michael McFarland. McFarland, the only one of the quartet in the secondary to start a year ago.
They're getting the single coverage out there, and he's doing off the rollout. Baylor doing a good job of containing him. See him come up in his face. The single coverage, Rico Smith had to be in pretty good shape working against those defensive backs, especially with the youth they had. athletic ability. A normal quarterback who had been stopped for loss of a yard or two maybe on the play, his great athletic ability turned this play into a game. This is just strictly Hagan. There's nothing there. He wants to go up inside, nothing there, nothing here. And watch him run to the outside, make the move here, picks up that, turned into be about 8 yards, strictly all on his own.
I have a question for you after this play. Second in a couple. Hagan to Smith on the little hitch pattern. He'll have a first down and they'll tack on 15 for a late hit. And we've seen 3 of those today, 2 against Colorado and now 1 against Baylor. And I think they'll get 96 Albert Fondo.
And that's just a dumb football play. It's not great position. You talk about helping the teams. This is a play where they try to hit the wide receiver to tackle out leading it. And of course, you see the late hit coming across there.
It's actually Brian Hand who hit.
Coach Taft will show that when he gets back. They go on to score. That cheap yardage helps survive so many times.
Yeah, they moved all the way to the 38-yard line of Baylor. It was Brian Hand who was a little overzealous on the play, not Fondo. Fondo got a piece of Hagan and actually knocked him out of bounds for Smith.
They're having success now with the rollout one-on-one here.
Here comes option, and Call has it. This looks to be the defense fairly well, but Call gets a good block on the corner. They load it up on the corner.
Good job getting yardage on that play. Just a piece of a block in there. It was gotten, I believe, by Michael Westbrook. I think that's just a piece of a backer coming from the inside out, which allowed that play to open up.
And a good gain again on first down. The question I wanted to ask you is, there's been some speculation. They have Cordell Stewart, a true freshman from Louisiana, and quarterback this Colorado. They think the world of him about lining Hagan up at tailback. What are your thoughts on that?
Talk about that after this play.
Call, kicks his way, close to a first down, still going. And there you see the size of Call helping himself there. He's 6'1" and a solid 200 pounds. Bounces off a couple of people and has the first down inside the 30-yard line.
Drew, I wouldn't agree with that theory at all. You got a veteran quarterback, of course, you see him here handing the ball off. He has led you to national championships, been a great player for you. Now you're going to take an untried freshman, put him at the quarterback position, take Hagan, make a tailback out of him. That really doesn't compute from any solid thing. That's one of those theories that people dream up. That's kind of a question they must call in on a talk show. Someone that just had nothing else to do and come up with that theory. Why would you take an experienced, senior, 2-letter end quarterback who's done a great job for you and change position with him? I've seen the Cincinnati Bengals ruin a player from Baylor this year, and they're going to change his position back. James Francis, a great linebacker from Baylor with the Bengals. Rookie of the year, led the team in sacks, led the team in tackles, led the team in big plays, and they take him and move him to the inside. Against the Oilers the other night, he could only make 3 plays. You don't take a great player and change his position.
All right, I think you feel rather strongly on that particular issue.
Well, so many people come up and they call all these radio and all these talk shows.
Believe me, I get them here, so
I don't know.
I've heard those questions.
I don't know whether that came on your show or not, but there are people who just have had no experience in coaching. They had no idea how tough it would be to take. I don't know Stewart, never seen a kid in my life, but I know he's a freshman. I know he's never taken a snap in college football. For him to step in there under the pressure of what he would have to do to replace Hagan, you got to be kidding me.
And there seems to be 2 dirty words in coach's dictum. One is freshman, the other is rookie.
Well, yes and no, but they usually cost you and make some mistakes.
First and 10 for Colorado at the Baylor 26-yard line. And Matt Bell, his first carry, and he won't get much. Marcus Lowe shed a blocker and ended that play rather quickly.
Well, it wasn't because of Roger Ivey, though. The right guard had a great block on that play. Sophomore out of Cleveland, Ohio.
You know, it's a tough assignment, speaking of freshmen and true freshmen. 66 at left guard for Colorado, Clint Moore, and he was the top recruit in the state of Colorado, but kind of hard going from high school football to playing in front of 50,000 against an All-American candidate, Santana Dotson.
Great experience for him, though. Great experience for him. He will really learn and grow from this game. Take your choice who you want to call offside, Dotson or Lowe. Who you like? Which
well, I'll tell you what, we're blaming on them both. That's a big play right there because Colorado, for the first time in several 2nd and 8. And now they're going to have a 2nd and 3.
Baylor has aided him very much here with 20 yards. Looks like the center dipped the shoulder. Baylor has aided him 20 yards in penalties. He had an unnecessary roughness penalty, and now this penalty on this drive.
Colorado out of their flex bone offense. They go straight ahead. No, Hagan will keep. Hagan keeps his feet. Hagan inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Darian Hagan, the senior from Locke High School in Los Angeles.
And you want to change position.
I was just passing along one-man spots, Ed.
Watch this great play by Hagan. Watch his, again, his athletic ability. There's nothing there. Look at the white jersey. There's a miss. There's a miss. There's 2 misses. There's another miss. Took that yardage up basically all on his own for first down. Goal to goal. Colorado trying to answer that touchdown of Baylor's.
Baylor will have to dig in here. Last time Colorado had a goal to goal in the first half, they created a turnover.
Rico Smith thinks he has something down here.
Double tight end. Call will lose a bunch. I mean, there were 4 white jerseys in there, led by the man who has made a career of making big plays, Santana Dotson, 6'5" and 264 out of Jack Yates High School in Houston.
Well, he took an outside charge that time. He went to the outside shoulder of Moore. I'm sure he was protected on the inside, and I'm sure Moore didn't have much of a chance to block it because he just lined up one. That's going to be the last play of the quarter.
That will do it for the 3rd quarter. We'll come back to Boulder. Colorado threatening their trail at home by 6. With a 2nd and goal at the Baylor 10-yard line. Drew Goodman and Ed Biles from Folsom Field, a sold-out Folsom Field, where the 23rd ranked Bears of Baylor trying to shock the 12th ranked Buffaloes.
If you got to go to the restroom, go now, because you got 15 minutes of great football is going to come up during this last quarter. A lot of things on the line. You got the 11-game nation's longest winning streak, their home winning streak on the line, and Baylor would love to put all of that to rest.
Is it throwing down?
I don't think so.
It's an option down. Call has a corner. He gets a great block. Ken Cole will score. Great block at the point of attack on the option by Mark Henry, the wideout.
There you see it. I think they went on a quick count, although the Baylor was ready for it. They got up in the line of scrimmage. They went on the first count, and boom, Baylor kind of sitting back on their haunches. They got into their blocks, took it into the end zone, and now they got a chance to take the lead.
And this is a huge extra point. Harper tacks it on. Jim Harper nails the extra point. The Buffaloes had made 111 straight going into last week in PATs, and they had one blocked against Wyoming, but they're starting another streak.
He wasted no time in throwing that option out there. Look at the people. Look at the people downfield. Just almost walks it into the end zone.
10-yard run for Colorado and Ken Call. They lead by 1. Receivers do a lot more than that.
Take a look at what Johnson did. He's down there, gets a shield block, comes off of that, now gets the block that puts him into the end zone. Charles Johnson talking about receiver giving you something extra. Right there is why they have the nation's longest winning streak going. You got football players giving you extra help on plays when they were assigned to one man. He came off of that, just got enough of a piece to let Call get into the end zone.
Lee Miles and Reggie Miller back deep. Mitch Berger will kick it off. Bill McCartney told us yesterday, he said this will be one of the toughest teams to come into Boulder since we've really turned the program around in the last few years. He put them in the Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Washington, and Illinois category.
I'll tell you what, that was a good scoring drive, though. They won 80 yards on 9 plays, took 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Scored, of course, on the 10-yard touchdown run. Baylor helped a little bit with a couple of cheap touchdowns in there. That was the drive that Colorado needed at that particular time.
A couple of cheap penalties. A 15-yarder for a late hit, and then a 5-yard penalty when they had a 2nd and 8 set up, and they jumped offside and set up a 2nd and 2. But I think Colorado did well on that drive that they hadn't been able to do all day was get positive yardage on first down.
No question of that. I think they had positive thing. They reacted to being behind in the 4th quarter.
Berger kicks it deep, and it'll be 2 yards deep, and Miller says, I think I'll stay there. So Baylor will get it. Colorado in terms of total offense, and they really had CU off balance, particularly the last couple of drives, mixing up the play and run.
Well, they scored the last 2 times they've had the football. First play of the second half, they go 75 yards, and then the second time they had the ball in the third quarter, they drive. Ireland gets a 40-yard field goal. This is only the third time they've had the ball this half.
Joe with 3 wideouts. He has a slot to the top of your screen. And here's Mims on a little draw, and he'll get a couple of yards, closed down pretty quickly. And Greg Beekert, is he close to 30 tackles now?
He had 17 up at halftime. He's just playing that draw tremendous. He does a good job of going back as he drops back on his pass zone areas, looking what's happening in front of him, and he's reacting right back up there every time they try to run that draw.
I don't know as far as the breakdown in terms of solos and assisted tackles. Beekert's best game was against Illinois a year ago. He had 19 solos in that one. He's got to be getting close. Joe is in all kinds of trouble, and is that caught?
Oh, looks like it was caught.
I think it was. Mike McKenzie off the deflection. Well, that is a fortuitous deflection for Baylor because Joe was, I think, trying to throw it away.
Yeah, looked like he was trying to play action, trying to roll to the outside. Now Colorado with a great containment. He knew he wanted to go the tight end on the crossing pattern that they've been running, but it was tipped. Again, great athletic ability shown by the junior Mike McKenzie.
It's a big play because now all they need is a couple of yards for the first down. They load up the backfield with the tight end who now moves. That's McKenzie. Joe gives to Strait. Second effort, first down.
Yes.
Robert Strait goes about 250, and you can't knock him off his pins with one man.
I saw 2 football players make big first downs. Joe on the second effort where he made his on the quarterback sneak. Strait now. Look at the offensive line. Not much there. Now watch him bounce off of that, though, and fight himself forward to get the first down. Strait on that play. Hagan on that play. He said, "Oh, we had you stopped."
Saw Bill McCartney a moment ago. His record at Colorado, 58-46-2. He's 51-21-1, 70% winning percentage the last 5 years. Joe wants a bunch, has a man, and McKenzie has it knocked free. Pretty good hit in the secondary by Dion Figures coming over to help out the left cornerback and an All-American candidate.
Yeah, I also think maybe John Knutson might have got his hand on that ball. Let's take a look at it as he comes back in there off his drop. There goes Knutson right there. No, he didn't. Good hit in there. You called it right. Good play. Isn't it amazing? He catches a deflected pass. That one he's got in his hands. He's got that one in his hands. All he's got to do is concentrate, but he might have seen the tackler coming into him. If he concentrates, he brings it in.
He might go back to the huddle and say, hey, Jay, if you're going to toss me that ball over the linebacker, try to get it in there a little quicker. And J.J. Joe wants to call a timeout. Whenever you see a timeout called before you're inside 2 or 3 minutes, you worry if that comes back to haunt you.
Well, I think what happened, the play was sent in from the sideline, and it was probably in the heat of the ball game. Sometimes you get a little bit of confusion. That wide receiver bringing the play in might just interpret a little bit different than what the quarterback is anticipating. And then Joe was kind of looking quizzically at the thing, and he didn't want to waste a play.
12:57 left in the half, and while we have a moment, we'll tell you that Special Order Sports presents live college football all autumn long. Call your cable company to order October 19th. Texas A&M will be in Waco to take on Baylor in 10 from their own 32. The fullback has the football, Robert Strait, and he's tackled almost immediately by, guess who? 19, junior Greg Beekert, who's going to have a couple of sore shoulders tomorrow.
If they win, he's going to be happy sore shoulders.
Now it's 3rd and a long 7 for the Bears.
Well, talk about a big play now. 12:30 to go in the 4th quarter. They want to turn the football back over. Trail by 1.
Twins to the near side. Single wide out to the top for Joe. He's got all kinds of time. Now it breaks down. What a grab. It'll go for a first down. Robert Strait
shows you what a great football this is a big fullback. This is a big fullback that you don't think he can do that. He comes out of here late. Watch him come out of here late. He's in the pile. There he's coming out of it, begging for the football. Joe picks him up, and look at this, the one-handed catch. Talked about another catch.
I guess that's how you...
There's the defensive coverage. Let's see what they're playing. Playing zone. Look at them dropping back. See that 5 men underneath too deep. But now they have to react back up because of the short pass that was thrown. Straight turns it into a big first down.
Back live. Short gain by the man who made the great catch, Robert Strait. And again, it's Beaker. He was assisted by Leonard Renfro. I mean, this is starting to be redundant. A number of times we have called Greg Beaker today. Simply amazing. The junior business major from Longmont, Colorado. 11:35, clock moving, 14-13. Baylor losing by just a point. Football at their own 49. And Joe blitz coming, and he's going to be sacked. Chad Brown from outside got him. Brown had 2.5 sacks last week. I thought for a moment he was going to be able to get away.
If he had gotten away, it looked like he might have turned and run the ball. But a great play here to the counter play. We see Brown coming untouched to the backside. If he misses this tackle, well, Joe's going to turn into big ground. But again, Chad Brown made a big play at the right time. You can count on him. 2 letters already.
He's a good football player. McCartney loves his 2 outside backers again this year. Wolfork and Brown. 3rd down and 14. Pressure coming, and Joe is in a world of hurt. He gets away. Knocked out in the secondary. A superb play by 13 Ronnie Bradford.
Boy, he couldn't see him, but Lee Miles was open on the sideline and would have walked it into the end zone on that particular play. How Hagan got open, I'll never know. Lee Miles, everything over here is going to eventually converge in. Now he's scrambling. Now he's looking around. Watch when he throws it into traffic. You can't see Lee Miles, but he's out to the right and wide open, begging for the ball.
So Colorado gets a lot of pressure on Joe. And you're right, I don't know how he got free there. You ask your secondary to do extra duty covering for that long. Here's the punt from Brentham. Another pretty good job. Hagan back at his own 13, trying to get to the wall. Hagan's got some room. Hagan is across the 25 to the 29-yard line. 10:28 to go in the 4th quarter for Boulder. The Buffaloes have the football and the lead.
To the ball game right now. Well, that Hagan is exciting. You know, they could put him back here for punts just to fill the stadium. Every time he gets back to the ball's punted, it's like, you know, it's like someone's saying mass. Everybody rises up.
He's broken a couple, or nearly broken a couple today. And last week he had a 37-yarder and a 30-yarder, and now he assumes his position under center. Here's Ken Call. And Call weaves his way for 6 or 7, 2 hands around the football.
Just got a little bit of a feeling right now, Drew, that maybe that Baylor defensive line and linebackers have been playing their hearts out, just might be getting the least bit tired in this different air conditions up here.
When you were coaching with the Oilers, and I don't know if you came to Denver and played, you did. And obviously, when you were coaching as a coordinator, is there something you prepared differently for a team going to altitude?
No way, nothing you can do.
James Hill will have the first down, I believe, across the 39-yard line. Teddy Patton brings him down.
Basically, really almost try to ignore it and try to act like it's not there, because you don't want to really become a psychological factor from your player standpoint. But it's there. There's no question that it's there. And no question, I think we said earlier that one of the things I would be concerned if I was really Baylor as you get into the 4th quarter of this ballgame, whether you were as strong physically as you've been.
Well, I know a Houstonian that really doesn't like the altitude. That's Akeem Olajuwon. He does not like playing here in Denver against the Nuggets. Call picks up 4 or 5 there.
Right, you usually can find him kind of really sucking air after he's got to run up and down that basketball court a bunch of times. Now the clocks will become a factor in the ballgame. 9:20 to go in the 4th quarter.
Call just slightly better than he was a week ago. 10 carries now, 54 yards. Last week against Wyoming, he had 50 on 10. Here comes the option. Hagan brings it back the other way. He's in a lot of trouble. 97, Teddy Patton stayed home, and now we have a flag in late.
It's a big call, though, I'll tell you that. This is a big call in the football game. If it's against Baylor, where they would have had third down and about 15, and it looks like it's, boy, what a big call, whatever this official detected.
Some Colorado players it might have been against Hagan for slapping and
Hagan, okay, well, Hagan must have done something after the play. I didn't see a face mask. I was trying to figure out what had conceivably could have happened. The call goes against Hagan, so evidently I have a feeling he may have been frustrated. I guess from a coaching standpoint, he was very frustrated because it was a busted play. Maybe someone went the wrong way, and when he got tackled and put down like that, he probably made some uncomplimentary, something that a student of his ability normally wouldn't say.
Probably not, but that is a huge penalty because instead of what you would consider a makeable third down, they have third down and 27 to go.
It was after the play was over, so they did lose the down. It's now third down, and this could be a big factor in field position if Baylor holds them on this down.
I'd be surprised if they threw it here, but that's what they're going to do. And Sean Brown's open, but he'll only get to the 40-yard line. He needs to get across midfield. Brian Hand closed quickly.
Well, that was big yardage there. That 20-yard completion, Coach McCarthy knows he's off of the field. That 20-yard completion just adds on to whatever this punt is. If it's a 30-yard punt, that makes it a 50-yard punt. It makes Baylor go that much longer.
Mitch Berger getting set to punt. Following the minute races, the Dodgers lead the Braves 2-0 in the first. The Dodgers won last night behind Darryl Strawberry, but it is raining at Fulton County in Atlanta, and they're in a delay. Berger unloads a beautiful punt. Lee Miles will hope this sails into the end zone, and it does. A 61-yard boot.
Just remember that big 20-yard completion and what that did to that punting situation. Coaches in this type of game are really aware and concerned about field position. If Colorado had to punt from deep in their own territory, that ball wouldn't have gone into the end zone, and Baylor might have had it on a 30 or 35. Now they've got 80 yards to go with 8 minutes to go in the ball game.
Pay attention to trends. Colorado, when they score first, check that when they're leading at halftime, have won 27 of their last 28. When they score first, they've won 28 of their last 30. But Baylor trails only by a point, and they have far more total offense than the host school.
Not one of those Baylor players knows that right now.
And not one of them cares. Joe give off to Mims, and he'll wind his way for nearly 9, maybe 10 yards. Good first down. A little delay to David Mims, the junior from Dangerfield, Texas.
Well, I think the key right now, of course, Coach Tapp, many years of coaching experience, realizes this. They're interested in making some first downs and having patience.
They give him 9.5. So here's a second down you might be able to have some fun with. Joe, option, Mims got the corner, and he'll pick up another 10 or 12 to the 41 or 42 before Eric Hamilton had to make the tackle in the secondary, assisted by Chad Brown. Some scores from around the country. 13th ranked Nebraska really walloping Colorado State 57-14 in the third. Game for the Southwest Conference. Rice beating Northwestern in the fourth, 22-7. Get you some others as we move along here. 7:15 to go, fourth quarter. Baylor on the move. Joe wants to throw. He's got Miles on the outside. Brad, he loses the football. It's scooped up there by Dion Figures. Oh, a huge turnover. Colorado that ball off the 30.
He can't run that ball. The ball should be spotted right there. He didn't take that in the air. I don't think that ball bounced. That should be brought all the way back. I'm not sure that he can take the ball. Let's see if this ball hits the ground, I believe. When he gets hit, let's see. There's a fumble. The ball hits the ground. He cannot advance this. It's not pro football. The ball has got to come back.
But the most important thing is Colorado now has the football. They can work the clock some more. We have a Baylor player down, number 19, Reggie Miller.
Well, the official missed this play. They blew this play. It should be Colorado's ball, but not when they're giving it to him. They're allowing him to advance a fumble. Injury down on the field. We had a good shot of it. You can see that's the value. You talk about instant replay. There is the value of instant replay.
Well, Dion Figures, the junior cornerback, has made a big play. Miles was in the open field. And Greg Lindsey hit him and forced the ball loose. And they're still attending to Reggie Miller, the junior from Waco. Well, that is not good. Communications major. Reggie Miller, 5'9" and 167 pounds, and they'll need him, particularly if the clock winds down some more and Joe is forced to throw the ball quite a bit. 7:02 remains in the fourth quarter.
I'm looking at the rule book because I wanted to make sure that I was right on the call, because the ball did obviously hit the AstroTurf. If the ball fumble, we're talking about a backward pass, or fumble, if it's caught in flight, let's catch up the play here. Tough call against.
Here's Hagan on the option, and he'll have to eat the football, and he'll lose a couple. Good job defensively.
But if the ball is recovered after it hits the ground beyond the neutral zone, only the offensive team may advance it. Officials just missed that.
Well, they blew that one. Here's some scores from around the country. Robin Jones made that play, and a superb play. Oklahoma 20-2 over North Texas State. Tennessee is knocked off the Bruins 30-16 today. Nebraska, we told you that score. A&M big over LSU. Michigan leading the Irish in the second. Here comes Hagan. Now he gets it to call. This is defensed very well also. And if Baylor needed to rise to the occasion, this was the series to do it. Now it's 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest third down play of the game from both teams' standpoint. A little long for a field goal attempt here, and it would still put Baylor in a position if they could move the ball to get down in position. There's only 6 minutes to go here now in the fourth quarter. I'm still a little bit shocked that official over there didn't see that play. Almost in front of him.
We have an update. It's now Michigan 17-0 over the Fighting Irish. That ball game in Ann Arbor. Big third down here. Hagan, I think this could be a halfback option pass, a throwback. He wanted to throw it back, and Baylor defensed it well. But Westbrook has all kinds of room. He'll get the first down. All the way to the 14-yard line. The ball comes loose late. My goodness, what a play.
The other official's going to blow it down, though. Even if Baylor gets the ball, they're not going to have it. The other official, the same official who didn't make the call, blew this play down. I hope he's a Southwest Conference official, because the Baylor coaches will be off one after if he isn't. That same official blew this ball dead. Let's see if his knee is down. He's still fighting.
There's the ball loose. I don't know. It all depends if his progress was stopped. Now, we can't tell, obviously, on replay if the whistle was blown. This was going to be a throwback to Darian Hagan, and he was covered.
What a great play by Michael Westbrook to pick up the key first down.
And Call will try the middle for a couple.
Along with that, they've also got the clock running down. They're going to be way down. They're in a position to kick a field goal, so that Baylor would have to score a touchdown, and they're going to use time off the clock now.
We were told before the game that if they handed the ball off to Westbrook, look for a throwback to Hagan. Well, that's all well and good, but the corner, and I'm sorry we don't have his name at this time, he wasn't fooled. He had Darian Hagan man for man, and Westbrook just did a great job of improvising.
Great defensive play by Baylor originally, and then they break down and not get back to make the tackle.
Here comes the option. Hagan will keep, and Hagan will get inside the 10 or the 9, maybe the 8-yard line. Colorado needs to get inside the 4 for a first down, but the clock is now a big ally of the home team. 4:23, 4:22, and it's moving. Leashay Maston and Curtis Hafford there defensively. Colorado leads it by a point.
Oh, what a big play by because they were in a position that they couldn't have kicked the field goal. It would have been a long field goal. They wouldn't have wanted to attempt it to give Baylor the field position. Instead, he picks up the first down, and then they're knocking down with possibly score and use up 2 or 3 more minutes off the clock.
It's a pretty heady play by a guy who's just a redshirt freshman, Westbrook from Detroit. Hagan gives off to his fullback on third down, and he won't be close to a first down. James Hill was stopped by Lachey Maston, and it'll be a full 2-yard shy, maybe even 3 of a first down. And Colorado, I'm sure, will kick the field goal because now you would force Baylor into scoring a touchdown to win the game.
And they may use all the time off the clock here because 5 yards in this position doesn't make a bit of difference, makes a better angle. They're going to use all the clock that they can. They'll take the delay of the game penalty here. They're going to take the delay of the game penalty.
They'll get it to about 3:10. 14-13 Colorado. And now they call a timeout with 3:14 left. They could have moved it 4 more seconds. And with the score 14-13 Colorado, they'll step aside for a moment from Boulder.
Some of them is going to be a big factor for players, but when you get out there on the longer ones, it's going to become a bigger factor, I think, as the college game wears on.
Robbie James will hold, and it's the first time I've seen him in the game today. Normally Mark Henry is the holder. The short snapper is Jay Lewinberg. Good snap, good hold, blocked! Oh, it's really blocked. It's going to advance this one back to the 50-yard line, and here comes somebody from Baylor.
Baylor can advance it. Baylor can advance the ball.
Hand has the football all the way to the Colorado 30. What a play!
What a turnaround in the ball game. What a turnaround in the ball game. That big play. What a block. And I'm going to tell you, the nation's longest winning streak is in threat right now. Here's the block right up the middle. Wasn't because he kicked it low. They got penetration up through the middle. Big block in there. Number 30, let's see if we can see this angle, see who got the block coming up to the middle there. Right there.
Is that Dotson?
I thought it was a 30 number. I thought it might have been 37. 77 could have been Dotson. It could have been 77 in there. Whoever it was, that's the biggest play of this football game from Baylor's standpoint. Now, they're in a position, a couple first downs. They could use up the clock and kick the field goal to win it. What a turn of events.
Unbelievable. You rarely see the ball move that far on a block. That thing shot out of there about 50 yards. Toss sweep to Mims. Mims has the corner. He's to the 25 and the 20, inside the 20 to the 18-yard line.
Mims got a first down. A great effort by Mims. And I'll tell you, a very intelligent play by a wide receiver out here. And very possibly may have been Bonner by not making a block. Keeps from making a block. Well, we're going to see it. He laid off making a block to keep from making a clip on the play.
And Mims has done the unusual against Colorado. The remarkable. He has got over 100 yards. He has 103 unofficially. First and 10 at the 18. They give to Straight, and he battles to the 15-yard line. The clock continues to move inside 250. And a point you made during our timeout was that Colorado earned the timeout instead of taking the 5-yard penalty. Now they only have 2. That came off them.
They may need it if Baylor puts points on the scoreboard here with not much time to go in the ball game. Of course, Baylor now wants to use the clock. Now, in a pro situation, this is when defensive teams will take their timeouts and try to give time for their offense to have some time on the clock.
Second down and 8. Mims behind Straight in the eye. Long count for Joe. He'll keep it. He's got some running room. He'll get down to the 12-yard line. John Knutson made the tackle, the true freshman from Great Falls, Montana.
See, now Colorado with their 2 timeouts should use a timeout. We're going to let the clock time run off this clock, and if Baylor should kick this field goal and make it if they don't score, they won't have much time left to come back down and score. If they use their timeouts, then you got a different situation. You're going to give your offense a chance. Well, of course, they're milking the clock right now.
And also on third down and 3, I would think they're going to try to run right here and get in the center of the field if they're short of the first down for the
flag. Let's see what he's got.
And it's a motion penalty, so they'll walk off 5 against Baylor. And Strait had gotten it very close to the 8-yard line, and he needed to get the ball across, but that is a moot point right now. Clock is stopped, 1:27 left in the football game. If you're just joining us, Colorado leads at 14-13. They were lined up to kick a 24-yard field goal a moment ago. They had it blocked, and it shot about 50 yards towards Colorado's end zone. It was scooped up by Brian Hand, and he ran it down the 30-yard line. And Baylor now in a position to go ahead with 1:27 left.
Big discussion down there was whether they wanted to take this penalty or not because they become very aware of the clock. Now, of course, they're going to give Baylor another play. They'll run some time off the clock. And I would assume that after this play, Colorado will take a timeout to give their offense some chance to have some time to go back down and maybe get field goal position. Should Baylor make this field goal?
Baylor, not that they'll use it right now, obviously, has one timeout remaining. And they crank up the clock again, and they'll run it down inside 1 minute.
They better get out of the huddle. Now the time clock is down to 5 seconds. They may not get the play off.
And downing the ball is Joe, and he downs it toward the middle of the field, but I think he would have liked to get closer to the center of the field. And the clock's still moving. Finally stopped with 55 seconds left. Colorado, you're absolutely shocked that Coach McCartney didn't call a timeout earlier.
Well, you know, we don't like to second guess anybody, but with 2 minutes to go, it was rather obvious that Baylor wanted to be in a position to kick this field goal. Now, if they kick the field goal and make it, if they don't make it, it's obviously irrelevant. But if they make this field goal, they go up 16-14. Now, if they make this field goal, Colorado's only going to have about 50 seconds left on the clock. If they had used their timeouts, they'd probably have a minute and 40 or 45 seconds to go for their offense to get the opportunity maybe to get the field goal range.
Ireland has kicked one for 41 yards earlier today. This one will be about a 36-yarder, and I'll have to push it a little bit from close to the near hash mark. The snapper is Matt Gant, the holder, Kent Brentham.
And Colorado has already blocked the field goal in about the same position in the second quarter.
Here we go. This could very well be the ball game. 36 yards away, Jeff Ireland. Good snap, good hold. It's up. And it's good. Jeff Ireland's put Baylor on top by 2. 51 seconds remain for McCartney's Buffaloes in the longest win streak in the nation. 16-14. We'll come back. The final 51 ticks after this. It's blocked, and the next time the ball is snapped, it's at the Colorado 30, and all Baylor has to do is move the football a little bit, and they do that, and they kick a 36-yarder. Jeff Ireland got plenty of height, got it right through. And Baylor now with a chance to win the football game, up by 2, 16-14 with 51 seconds left.
Yeah, this kickoff play will take probably 8 or 9 seconds, everything being normal, so we're probably going to have 42 or 43 seconds to go here with one timeout left.
And Ireland, oh boy, he kicks it right out of the end zone. Does he have a strong leg or what? So Colorado trailing by 2. A field goal obviously is all they need, but they'll start from their own 20. And they'll have 51 seconds with which to move it. And you know Baylor is going to put their ears back and fly after Darian Hagan.
Well, if you're interested in Harper's longest field goal, it was 54 yards in his career. So that means that they've got to get down to about the, maybe 35-yard line of Baylor. So you're looking at about needing 45 yards for him to have a attempt for his longest.
Hagan's got time. He wants to get a bunch, and Rico Smith is double covered. That's not really a smart throw. You're not going to get it all at once. You got to try to get chunks of it.
Yeah, I would, with college football, the fact that they stopped the clock after every first down, you can get about, we're looking at about probably 45 yards. So 3 15-yard passes in that middle area where they stop the clock and move the chain, you can get field goal range. So I would say that that's really something that I think not worry too much about the deep ball.
2nd and 10. Hagan with time. Now it's breaking down, and Hagan's hit from behind and did well to hold on to the football. Robin Jones got him. Clock keeps moving.
Colorado only had 2 receivers out on that play. They were covered, double covered, every one of them. He had absolutely no one to go to.
And now Colorado calls a timeout. They wasted 10 seconds on the clock in getting that timeout down. They have 1 left, and again, they blew 10 seconds after the sack getting together.
I think that's their last timeout. I think they used the timeout for the field goal when they stopped it for the field goal here before. Now that's their last timeout. I don't think they have 8 timeouts left.
You're right, the scoreboard was wrong, and now the scoreboard is corrected. There are no timeouts left. 25 seconds left, and Colorado has gone backwards in 2 plays, 1 yard. And I have pointed to this before during Oklahoma's heyday, when they'd go down and play Miami, sometimes for a national championship. Whenever they get behind late in the ball game, it's very difficult for an option team to throw the ball. They very rarely have drop-back series.
No question of that. From Baylor's standpoint, this is going to be one of the biggest wins they can hold on for 25 seconds here that they've had in a long time. Obviously, their people are going to be sitting back here awful deep. Hagan has to throw this one this time. He can't take a sack. He's got to throw it up in the air. Sometimes that when you really get cheap interceptions. 3rd down play.
They sent 4 out, now 5 out this time. Hagan has a man. It's caught at midfield. Oh, 17 seconds left. Charles Johnson hauled it in. And now Colorado is looking at 15, 18-yard completion, and they could get a field goal attempt.
They got plenty of time to do it with 17 seconds. They can throw that ball in the middle. And then you can line up and stop the clock by dropping it to give the field goal kicker the opportunity.
Folks, if you're not enjoying this one, life can't be too good right now.
Colorado's a little messed up now. They got people running in and out.
4 receivers now to the top of the screen. Hagan has got time. Now he jumps it the other way to Brown. Brown will get out of bounds, and he'll pick up 5 yards, and the play took 6 seconds.
That didn't help the situation much because that 5-yard gain took some time off the clock. They only 11 seconds to go in the ball game now.
And again, they have to work the sidelines. They can't call timeout to get the field goal unit on the field. Of course, they can spike the ball, but I think you're looking at really one play here that they need to pick up 10 yards. 10 yards would be a 52-yard attempt.
Your field goal team has to be ready on the sideline to run out and get on that field. They're running players in and out.
Is this some kind of football game? 16-14, Baylor, 11 seconds left. Hagan's using a lot of time. It's picked off, and that'll seal it. 37, Frankie Smith, 1 second left. Baylor has come north and shot the Buffaloes. That was an overthrow because Hagan did have a man open on the sideline.
Yeah, that was he has to throw the ball in that situation, and that basically that type of looks like he's open down in there. Take a look at Henry. He's got to go down now. He wants to work kind of out to the outside because he wants to get out of bounds. He is open. The ball is just thrown a little bit to the inside and overthrown, and that's what you call an inherited interception. And of course, with 1 second, obviously Baylor's just going to lay down on the ball. And what a happy plane ride back to Waco, Texas this is going to be for those Baylor Bears.
Well, I think back 1969, George Allen hired a special teams coach by the name of Dick Vermeil. He was the first guy in the National Football League to do it. They said, why a special teams coach? Well, we learned today. Block field goal. The difference in this football game is Baylor, the 23rd ranked team in the country, has knocked off number 12 Colorado, the defending national champions, 16-14.
We talk about a happy dressing room. That's the scene that you've just seen to open our show. We were, of course, in Boulder, Colorado, taking on the defending national champions, those Colorado Buffaloes, coached by Bill McCartney and a great coaching staff. And our players went up with the attitude that they could win, and they did everything that it took to win. We made a lot of mistakes, but so did Colorado. But both teams played hard and aggressively, and it was really a great college football game. All the fans seemed to enjoy it a lot. I certainly enjoyed the end a lot more because we did win the football game. But it was an exciting trip for our team, and our players and our coaching staff had worked hard to try to go up and compete with those Buffaloes, and we were able to do so. Had a great group of fans that followed us up there, and at the conclusion of the show, I want to show you some fans that met us at home. But in the meantime now, we're going to pause for a moment, and then we're going to come back and look at the highlights of the Baylor, Colorado football game.
Rocky Mountain High.
Baylor, Colorado, September the 15th, 1991. The Baylor Bears went up to the high country to play the defending national champions, the Colorado Buffaloes. And boy, are they a fine football team, which Bill McCartney has done one outstanding job in building a program there at the University of Colorado. The Bears were there to challenge these guys on their home field, and the kickoff started the action. You are looking at the Baylor team and the live shirt, and we're going what would be to the south of the stadium. The wind was swirling around from the west, and it actually came at you from both ends of the field. J.J. Joe is the quarterback, straight the fullback, and number one there is Lee Miles, and that's a 20-yard gain for a very big first down on an opening drive. J.J. running the option pass as we're driven on down the field, overthrew the receiver, and the ball was intercepted by Thomas of CU. Our defense takes the field for the first time. Santana Dotson, number 77, pursuing. And of course, that young man right there, Robin Jones, made the big stop on a long third down. The ball was actually dropped by a punter. He picked it up, got off a very good kick. This young man is extremely dangerous, Darren Hagan. And we worked hard all week long on that. And we get a little better, interestingly, as the game goes on. Now it's another possession, and Hagan is at the quarterback. It's a third down situation, and he throws a completed pass, a very, very nice throw and catch, I might add, for the big first down. They move down toward our goal line. They jump off sides here and do not get the snap, and we recover the fumble. And this is a very important play because it kept them from getting any points on the board, and it was a 2-point ball game at the end. Here you can see the center took off early, snapped the ball, missed the quarterback, and we recover. That was covered by Hafford, number 66, one of our defensive linebackers. In motion is the tight end. Ball is thrown outside to Miller, and Miller makes a big first down play. We're coming off our own goal line. That was a very, very important reception by Reggie Miller. This is a 3rd and 6. Very important. And this young man right here, David Mims, had a big day against the Buffaloes. He had 109 yards. There he got his ankle hurt. Accidental hit out of bounds. And he was only out for a couple of free plays and was able to come back. But he made more yardage against the fine Buffalo defense than anyone since Rocket Ishmael a couple of years ago. Rocket had 100 yards rushing. He was, of course, from Notre Dame. Now, here we see Colorado taking over again. Darren Hagan throwing across the middle. The ball is complete to the big tight end. He made a good, strong, concerted effort on his run, picked up some extra yardage there. Marcus Lowe, Santana Dotson, the tackles. The ends out there, Albert Fontenot and Robin Jones. And you see us knocking each other down in the secondary. The tight end on a crossing route. Hagan hit him perfectly. They go in, score the touchdown, kick the extra point, and we find it 7-0. Now they're going south. We take the ball here and almost make a mistake. We really bring it out, and we end up with very poor field position. We did have the most time with the ball in possession in the first half, and that was very helpful for us. This is the option play executed by J.J. Joe. Picks up about 26, 27 yards, and he was hit late out of bounds, and so there is a penalty on the play, another 15 yards. You're seeing what we refer to as a stack eye. That's a little unusual in modern day football when you see mostly one backs. There you see three backs lined up. Ball thrown to that one of the eye backs for a big first down. This is 3rd and 3. We're driving down to the 20-yard line, or 18 actually. Motion again. Here's a reverse play, and they really had it pegged pretty good. They did a good job picking it up. Miles scored last week against University of Texas at El Paso on the same play, and the Buffaloes are a great defense, and they weren't going to let that happen. Jeff Ireland kicks this one right straight through those narrow uprights. Remember, they're 5 feet shorter or more narrow than they were a year ago. Score now 7-3 with 10:04 left in the second quarter. Ireland kicking off, and I must say that this young man did a superb job all afternoon long. As a matter of fact, that I think was his shortest kick. They ranged from 3 yards into the end zone to 3 yards out of the end zone. Here's the option play, and he's well covered. That young man there, Brian Hand, number 47, had a very fine game. Coach Goodman and I, the linebacker coach, were talking today that this young man, Brian Hand, is one of the most underrated players we have. He does a great job. Colorado's a very aggressive football team, very tough. It was a couple of heavyweights slamming away at each other, as you can see. Little sleight of hand right here. McKenzie catching the ball, and again hit out of bounds. I'm sorry, that was again Alonzo Pierce, not McKenzie. And another 15-yard penalty. Motion by McKenzie now, trying to run an option outside, and we didn't block it right, execute it right, or anything else, and that's usually the end result. You lose yardage. So we're forced to punt, and we get a very poor punt, only about a 15-yarder, and they set up camp ready to go somewhere on about the 26 or 7-yard line. Yeah, just keeps walking there, 27-yard line. Now they're in motion. And Hagan, the quarterback. Secondary had an excellent game. This is one of the fine interceptions you'll ever see right there. Allison is a great player. Number 4. Also number 37, Smith. Outstanding job. Number 3, Keith Caldwell. Outstanding job. Well, I tell you, that is a great interception. Great football. 2nd down and 10, Baylor Bears coming down, trying to get points on the board. This is before halftime, well-executed play. Mims caught up with the outside blocker, and he's telling him, give me a little bit more of a crease out here, and we'll make some yardage. There's a bootleg play, a Big John Turnfall pulling out. Pass is complete out there to Stutzman. Stutzman, number 80, senior, outstanding player for us. Made the catch coming across the middle. 3rd down and 11, another big 3rd down play for the Baylor Bears. Still up 7-3. It was a draw play to a quarterback. Picked up all but 1 yard after the spot. All but 1 yard for the first down. So we're going to go for the first down, execute the option, pick up 8 yards. Very, very fine execution by J.J. Joe. David Mims, Robert Strait in that same backfield. Scott Barnes snapping on that, and he had a hurt ankle and got the snap high. I don't have time to explain why a hurt ankle would cause him to snap high, but he did. And now that's the halftime, and we'll be back in just a moment. University of Colorado had won the opening toss. They deferred, so it was their choice the second half, and they wanted to receive the ball, and there's another one of those great Ireland kicks. That's 5 yards into the end zone. Now they take up residents on the 20. They move out, get 2 first downs out to the 40-yard line. And now this is for another first down, and it was a quarterback sneak. Depends on the spot. Here it comes right now, 4th and 1. And your guess is as good as mine. Those officials have to go in there and make a decision, and they do a great job. It's a well-officiated ball game. Aaron Hagan fumbled there, and they did get it back, so they were able to punt. We didn't get possession down deep in their territory. Lee Miles, the punt returner for Baylor. They get a good high kick. Comes up short to the short man, and Frank Smith gives a fair catch and handles the ball. We want possession. Here comes the option pass. This is the first play for Baylor of the second half, and their secondary have been coming up very, very hard against the run, and that's one of the dangers when you have the kind of receivers we have. If the secondary wants to play the run too hard, then you elect to throw. J.J. Joe had about 235 yards passing, and this one touchdown, 74 yards. And this guy is tall and can fly. There's not many people that can catch him in a straight race. He's got great speed. That's Melvin Bonner. Here's another shot of it. J.J. Joe unloaded it. He even got a pretty good little spiral on it there, right into the hands, and a big touchdown. We, of course, kicked the extra point, and then that brings the score 10-7. Baylor's favor now over Colorado, 10:23 left in the third quarter. Aaron Hagan sets up camp, tries to throw, trying to do a bootleg there. Watch this defense. Great defense. Knock that ball loose. Keith Caldwell, Frankie Smith. Punt, this one is given a fair catch signed by Lee Miles. He was not happy with himself. There was a crease. He had a chance to make a few yards, but he made a good decision. We got possession of the ball. We've got a lead. Now we want to try to build on that lead. Great pass thrown out there again to Stutzman. Stutzman was a tight end for us, but he has sprinter speed, so he's a big blocker, and we can play him on the outside. Here again to Melvin Bonner, and I'm telling you, if he doesn't step out of bounds, that's going to be a pretty good foot race between those two guys. But that again is another type of play-action pass that has been successful. We also had over 230 yards in rushing, just like this right here with J.J. Joe, and 230 yards passing, so we had an excellent day. Offensively, we did control the clock a lot of the time. But we were playing a great football team, and here on a 1st and 15, we had a penalty. We did hurt ourselves with penalties quite a lot. David Mims makes a very good effort right here, picks up a good high number of yardage, sets us up in a position to try to make that first down. In motion, we have a mix-up in the backfield, and as I explained earlier, usually that ends with disastrous results as it did there. So now it's a third down. That was second down. And the ball is thrown, but we did not make the first down. Miles couldn't get back in bounds, stay in bounds. So now we're going to kick a field goal. This will give us a 13-7 lead if we can put it through the uprights. Jeff Ireland kicking. Kent Brentham holding. Offensive line, our starting offensive line works the front up there. I thought both of our tackles played well, and also Matthew Gant came in and worked with those tackles. Albert Fontenot making a good play on the sideline, but we get a 15-yard penalty, and rightly so, and that certainly helped them move the ball forward. With 32 seconds left in this third quarter. Santana Dotson and Robin Jones and also Marcus Lowe defensively. I mentioned Hafford a while ago, Lachey Maston, those three linebackers really played well, and I felt overall that we did an excellent job. Our conditioning was good. We get a clip right there, and it went undetected about the 3-yard line, so they get the score, they kick the extra point, and it's 14-13. Baylor starts on a very impressive drive. J.J. Joe making a big play right here. That was a fine catch. It was a tip ball and a fine catch by McKenzie. Squeeze a couple of yards for first down. Go the quarterback. And the fullback straight does a great job twisting and turning and making that first down. Robert had 16 yards per carry in our opening game, and Colorado was not going to let him out. But when they bottled him up, it did give us a little bit of options to the outside, and this again is straight over the middle. One-handed stab for the big first down. We're maintaining possession of the ball. We're moving down. The score is 14-13 for, of course, Colorado. And we're trying to get down and get points on the board and win this game. We're held and they're forced to punt, but we're still in good shape if we can back them up. And here's a great job by McKenzie. Watch this tackle right here. Real good job. That's Darren Hagan, and he can fly. We had to do a great job in keeping him contained. Now they're on a drive. Hagan bounces out the back, and we throw him for a loss. And he got a penalty there, and that certainly helped us a good bit because he was so dangerous it made them have to go a long way, so they punted to us. Now we've got to drive 80 yards, get points on the board, and win. We're 1 point down. David Mims on a draw play, picking up 17 yards. Craig Bellamy is one of our tackles that played well, and so did Aurora. Another big play by David Mims. David's not all that big, but he is an excellent runner and compact individual with a lot of leg strength. Here we come with a very big play. Ball's complete. Turn up field and fumble. They alertly pick it up. The rule in college football, if the ball is fumbled past the line of scrimmage, the defense can advance it, and they advanced it. Now they're going to throw a throwback here to Darren Hagan, and he's covered well over there by our defensive secondary. And right here, we knocked that ball loose somewhere in there. The official was able to see, and he called it down. We did get the ball here, but he called the man down on the 14-yard line. We hold them subsequently, and they're forced to kick a field goal. Now, we'll look at this a couple of times, but there's 3 minutes left on the clock, and we blocked the field goal. We'll come back and show you another shot of it. That blocked field goal puts us in a position to take up with the ball on the 30-yard line. Of course, Brian Hand picked it up and carried it a few more yards. But watch it here. Santana Dotson comes in with great help from Robin Jones and, of course, Marcus Lowe. The ball is blocked and with such force that it traveled back up the field. Here Brian Hand picks it up, and we don't know what Ellison's telling him right there, but it may have been, give me the ball, you're a linebacker and I'm a back. But whatever it was, we took up with the ball on the 30. This is for a big first down coming in here, and we fall short. We've got to go just past the 10-yard line, get a first down. We're down to about 1 minute's time, something like that. We know what we have to do. Now here's for a first down, and we get in motion. Guys not set for a full second out here. We get the first down. It's first and 10, but we were in motion. So now we have a penalty. We elect to take the ball, down it, get it just inside the hash mark, and set up shop for the field goal that if we make it, we will defeat the defending national champions. They have the longest winning streak in college football, and they have won 23 of their last 22 football games. One of the best in the nation. The ball looks like it's going out to the right of the goalpost, and it just hooked right back in there. Here's a great shot of the kicker. You can see him watching it, and he knows that it's in there. The holder knows it's in there. Now the referee knows it's in there. Now everybody in the stadium knows, and you can see that it was a tough time for the Colorado fans, but boy, was it a great time for the Baylor Bears. Now we still have a little work to do. There's 55 seconds left on the clock. This is a second down. 43 now, 42, 41. You see Darren Hagan moving around there, but Robin Jones comes in, puts a stop on him. They only have one timeout. They have to call it now, get the clock stopped. So that means that they can't call a timeout even if they get down close and get in a field goal team. So they got to go for everything. and we're trying to back off and give him some room. This is a great throw and a great catch, and stops the clock down on the 50-yard line. 17 seconds to go. Give him anything except a touchdown. And they pick up a few more yards, run out of bounds. There's only 11 seconds on the clock. They've got time for one more play. Remember, no timeouts. Hagan drops back, rolls to his left, throws it, and here's a great interception by Frankie Smith. And he takes the ball out of bounds with 1 second to go. And JJJ goes on the field, takes a snap, drops to his knee, and the game is over. And the Baylor Bears win. Coach Bill McCartney is one of the class acts in our profession, and a very close personal friend. He has a great team. Last year, remember, they lost one game, went on and won the national championship, but you can't count those Colorado Buffaloes out at this time. That's all Baylor fans. There were 1,500 to 2,000 there, and they were happy, and they were loving being there at the stadium there in Boulder, Colorado, where the Baylor Bears won. Well, I mentioned at the outset of the show that not only would you see the fans up in Boulder, Colorado celebrating, but you'd see the fans there in Waco when we returned from our long flight. We were about 2 hours delayed, and about 2,500 Baylor students and fans, all from Central Texas, including members of our great Golden Wave Band, were there to greet the team on their arrival. And they gave such an enthusiastic welcome that I thought you would enjoy seeing how happy and excited these folks were. We'd like to invite them and all of you out to the Missouri game this coming Saturday in Baylor Stadium. Now let's watch the excitement.